Yeah, no, yeah, Matt, Duncan, welcome,
Yeah, Barney, thanks
welcome.
for having us.
Thanks, Barney.
Great to
Thanks for
see you,
having
man.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No worries at all.
it's
I
really
like that
nice to see
little
you.
preamble discussion now. It's fantastic. But you guys, you combined and became Nox Pulso,
Mm,
or Night Beats, if you want to give it its
yeah.
name, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It means either night beats or nasty beat or smelly rhythm, all of
okay,
which I think
but
apply.
not Pulse.
It,
No?
yeah, like noxious smell and then pulse. So it's like that's the idea. We
So
it's
who's
not
the noxious
genuine
smell
Latin.
and
It's not.
who's the
It's not. Yeah, we all smell.
Mhm.
It's not real Latin. It's like a made up version of what it might be if you were trying to sort of if a Roman soldier was trying to say this is the music of the night and we're going to
okay?
dance to it.
Okay. Made up Latin. I think
Yeah, made up
Latin was made
Latin.
up anyway, wasn't it?
Well,
Smart people.
I think technically it's a dead language, but like if I
It
put it
is,
in
yeah,
ChatGPT, well,
yeah.
if I put it in ChatGPT 2 years ago, it didn't know. But now, and so it would give like a reasonable sort of answer.
Yeah.
But if you put it in now, unfortunately, now it knows. So it's like, oh yeah, they're this band from bloody blah,
Okay.
and so it says that instead of giving the explanation. Fucking ruined everything. This Chat GPT stuff.
It's yeah, everyone's like, where did the name come from?
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that's totally like cut all my fucking questions out. But yeah, no. Um, I mean, the one thing I do on the show, like you mentioned that you have watched this show before or listened to this show
Mm,
before. I like to find out origins of the bands that I have on,
that's
especially
right.
bands like yourself. So yeah, how did you guys kind of come together?
Well,
Matthew,
I think really I coerced Duncan into it.
Nice.
So like I
that's
was
true.
it just sort of yeah, it was just an idea to Duncan and I had never done music together as well, Bung, but like we were like I thought maybe I'd be able to kind of convince him into doing something. So we started to like it was all under the disguise of or the ruse, I should say, of doing ministry covers and just see what happened. And sure enough, we did just one fix and we just made some other stuff. And it was I loved it. And it's one of those sort of weird things where you're like it could so easily have gone either way, right? Like when you're working with a good friend of yours with something as kind of personal and as like exposing as doing music, you can kind of be like, is he feeling the same way? Is this good? If I start like saying stuff about his music, if I say his guitar is whatever, and vice versa. I'm sure you had the same vibe, Dunk, that you're just like, can this bald retard be told that he's rubbish at music? And the answer is yes. Um, and yeah,
It just
so
keeps coming back, buddy.
tell me again, tell me again. um, yeah, so it was just from those pretty humble beginnings, really. I mean, Dunk, is that kind of the way you understand it as well? Is that your
Yeah,
impression of
I
that?
think that's fair, Matt. Like, I definitely didn't know what was going on, and Matt sort of just after sort of pandemic time, Matt
Mm,
kind of talked about, oh, but just bring a guitar and let's just make a bit of noise. And he booked a rehearsal room that he knew and was aware of, and I turned up thinking we were going to do some ministry covers and like have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And then it felt because I pretty much had sworn off making music ever again. Um, and it felt really good and it felt very natural in a way that when you're in a band with somebody, you develop this sort of unspoken communication over years, possibly even decades. It takes time. But what I
mm,
didn't realize was that if you were long-term friends with somebody that actually already exists and the communication instantly occurs, it instantly gels. If you then go and try and make music together, like we could have equally gone and like, I don't know, played golf together or something and had the same kind of, probably the same kind of communication and expression
Yeah.
between each other as we had. But it just happened to be that Matt had had done that, and I don't know what his plan was before then. And I usually sort of say to people like he tricked me into it. But I think
It's true.
it was also something that I probably once I felt it, I needed it and was wholly into it. Like immediately on that day,
Talking about
there
the
was sort of
music.
no. Say again, Bon.
Talking about the music, yeah.
I didn't realize this was a
Wow.
music interview.
Oh, good. We're on the same wavelength. This is good. Um, but no, that's really cool. That's really cool. Like you guys, obviously, you know, like say post pandemic and
Mm,
sort of it's sort of an organic thing that kind of blossomed, if you will,
that's right.
from this thing. And you guys, obviously, you've released a couple of things already. People can go on the various services. I'm going to say Bandcamp is probably the best place to go look, but obviously, if you're a subscriber to various things, you are on there as well. And you've
Yep.
got like a bunch of EPs, and you released an album in 2023 as well, called
Yeah.
Songs from the Wasteland. And before that, you had was it Frontiers EP, Snake EP? I've got it written down here, so I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Guessing.
Yeah, no, so
I've got it here.
I can probably see them. We
Um,
basically released the whole album
yeah,
as little EPs building up to the album,
yeah,
and then the album has a couple of extra songs that weren't on the EPs, and the EPs sometimes have covers on them.
yep.
And we did it properly, like we paid our licensing to the people. You know, I have no interest in trying to rip off or cheat Al Jorgensen or Gary Newman or
The
Bauhaus,
Bauhaus.
the people
Yeah.
we covered. But though the covers aren't on the album, they're only on the sort of the EPs that lead
Okay.
up to it.
So you can't treat it like a B-side, like traditional B-side.
Exactly like that, and we treated it just like I think you're about to sort of imply, which is like we imagined it like a record when we were kids,
Mm.
and we imagined it like this is a single like we were kids. Let's get a let. Oh, this has got something different on it. It's got some remixes. It's got some B-sides. It's got a cover I can't get in other places. If you buy it on Bandcamp, you get secretly you get everything underneath. But we're not doing this for money, which is lucky. But
What?
the Bandcamp thing, if you go on there, you can pay what you want, and I'd much rather you paid nothing for it and
Take it.
got the whole lot and enjoyed it. Yeah, that's great. You know, um, it's not music for everyone. We're sort of like a Marmite band, and that's fine
I'd
because
say
we're not doing it.
we're intentionally not music for everyone. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's kind of the thing.
yeah,
It's like that the kind of like that you're sort of saying about the beginnings there, Barn, and like what's going on with it. But it's what would like somebody who does electronic music and someone who does metal sound like if they genuinely kind of like try to squidge these two things together, and
Yes.
it is not to everyone's taste, and that's totally, you know,
Yeah.
that's just the way it goes, and that's totally cool. So I think it should be free on Bandcamp.
yeah, and indeed it is.
Yeah.
So, when we get like, we even get Marmite reviews. We're getting them because of
Mm,
the new single that's out at the moment. So we're seeing these reviews coming through, and some of them are literally like, "I love it. It's the best thing ever," and some are like, "These guys are retards. What are they doing?" And
yeah,
whenever I see the bad ones, I'm like, "Yeah, we did our job. It's not for you. You're fucking,
yeah,
you're too thick to understand it, or it, like, you're too
Yeah.
much of a pussy to understand it. I don't mind. It's not for you. That's fine." The weird thing about art at the moment is people feel that they have some say over what other people are doing, as though, like, oh, it's not mine. It doesn't speak to me. I don't go up to a painting in the Tate Gallery and go, that Pantone 436, it's a little bit off over there. I just walk to the next picture.
yeah.
And if you don't like it, go fuck yourself. It doesn't matter to me. I mean,
Oh, it's nice to know your attitude hasn't changed, Dunk.
yeah. If anything, it's got worse.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's a little more volatile behind voluntary. Yes, vitriol. That's the word I was looking
Yeah,
for. A
very
bit more
good.
vitriol behind it. But yeah, no, I mean it's been great listening to you guys and watching you guys kind of thing. I was really gutted I couldn't make to Deprivation last year.
Oh, thanks, man.
I ended up going to Florida instead. So
Dude, fair choice.
I
yeah,
think that's a pretty good excuse.
I think for you as well. My
I
first
think I'd
holiday.
Deprivation was great, but I still think I might have gone to Florida if that was an option
Yeah,
at that moment.
yeah, you got
But
Swindon and then you got Florida,
Yeah.
which they're kind of almost the same thing. But no, I'm good friends with Martin, who was the guy who puts that thing on.
Yeah,
He's having
really
me
nice guy. Really appreciate it. It was a great day, and I think we probably have you to thank for us being
Mm.
on that bill. So yeah, it was really nice festival, really nice day. The other bands that we met were cool. Martin, the dude that's organizing it was amazing.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Great. Go this year if you're listening. Go and you're in the Swindon area
yeah,
And you're not
or
going to Florida.
surrounding,
yeah. If
and
Or
you
you're
even if
not
you're
in
going to
Florida.
Florida, if you're in Florida, head over to Swindon. You heard it from Barney. It's
yeah, it's
practically
like
the
the
same.
same thing. That's the headline. That's that they're
Yeah.
going to use in the Swindon Gazette.
Yeah.
But this year it's actually open air as well. He's upgraded
Oh, cool.
from the venue he was
Yeah,
in,
it's very cool.
which is a cool little.
I saw that. I've been following their social media, and I saw that he's really pushed hard, man.
Yeah,
And I really hope it works out for him, and I think it will, because if you take a risk, you get rewards.
yeah,
Nobody ever gets anything done by just sitting and putting their road podcaster up their backside.
this is true.
Unrelated.
That was something off camera and beforehand. It's not a road bike, right? And it wasn't me. It was Matt. He had one.
It's still
It wasn't
here.
mine. It was
No, it's still
research. It was research.
That was blurred out for a reason. But yeah, like you say, like deprivation, that was where I was hoping to come see you guys. But yeah, I mean, now obviously you've alluded to it already. You've released a brand new track.
Mm.
It came out well a few weeks ago, the recording of this.
Yeah.
It'll be about a month after this thing's released, but people can go listen to it. It's called No Exit. And it is on all streaming platforms and Bandcamp and all that kind of stuff. Like you said, you can get it for free. People can actually download the music, put it on their phone, put it on their. They've got MP3
Keep it
players.
forever. Put it in on a dongle and wear it around their neck in a vial with some of their various sexual partners' blood.
Yep.
That sort of thing would be
Exactly.
my recommendation.
That's the tip for this particular song.
Yeah, that's going to really get the most out of it.
Yeah,
Uh,
like if you really want to connect with that song, it's
yeah. So
Um,
no,
I know it's me
it
just
is out
spitting a drink.
now.
Yep.
It is out now, and in a few days' time from the time of recording this, we're going to put something else out as well, which is a bit strange. We got asked to do a track for a Nine Inch Nails tribute album. And I don't know if it's now going to happen because of the machinations of that machine, and they're now on tour and doing other stuff. So we decided, like, well, fuck it, we'll put it out anyway. So in a couple of days' time from whenever this goes out, then that'll be out. But I guess we should talk about No Exit in the meantime.
I'd say have a
Matthew.
chat about that, but then we'll talk about the Nine Inch Nails cover as well, because that's
Cool.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah, tell us
So
about No Exit compared to like songs from the Wasteland. Where have you kind of gone with this?
Matt,
Well, this really is that kind of. It's funny when we're sort of working on the second, because this is working towards the second album, and there were just like you want statement of intent tracks to kind of like line up your North Star of where you want to head with this thing.
Yeah.
And this was one of those tunes where it's as it goes, we ended up sort of heading in two different directions with the thrust of the album. This is in the heavier part of it, and for my taste, this is the kind of the proper sort of bridging of what we set out to do of that hard dance music with really aggressive strong metal, and like what it sounds like when you push those two things together. And yeah, I just like it came together very quick, flew together. Music video is great fun to do as well with my very dear camera genius Tom Heritier Gas, who's just a legend. That guy worked with him on
love
bloody
that dude.
everything. Yeah, worked with him on everything. He's fantastic. Duncan, am I missing some stuff about it?
Well, first of all, let's say thanks to Tom as well. And here's a bit like something funny for the podcast, Bunny. Like, he turned up to the video shoot and had just been editing Love Island.
Oh, brilliant!
He's doing like that sort of stuff, and then comes and helps us out by Yeah, obviously, I had my fillers done and got my lips into a
Mm.
state that would be more suitable for his camera work.
Yes.
And Nox it is uh, as Matt's sort of talking about, we've written a second album. It's done. It's pretty much complete, and it is an album of two halves. And we're thinking about it with this old school mentality of a CD or a record where you
Mm.
flip the thing over, and there's like these heavy dancey tracks, and then there's slightly more sort of thoughtful melodic produced tracks, and it's about a 50-50 split, and this is one of the heavy dancey tracks. I think that the press release from or not release review from Deprivation Festival pretty much nailed it correctly, which is where it said it's like the Prodigy mixed with Sepultura. And
Yeah.
obviously I don't mean the shit Sepultura, I mean the good bits. um, and
Okay.
that is uh that's like the mission statement for the heavy tracks
Okay.
on this record, and also from both of us. And you know us, so you can probably tell like how that balance kind of made makes
Yeah.
makes sense, I guess. um so it's like super simple dumb riffs. Sorry, Max, I know I watched your episode with Max with great enthusiasm, but nobody's going to say he's like writing highly technical, complicated riffs. It's not like these young kids now with the like super, clever, intricate guitar work and perfectly polished harmonies and all that sort of stuff. It's more like if you took punk rock, you put it through a distortion pedal, and then you stuck a drum machine into it as well.
Yeah.
And it's chaos, but controlled chaos. It's still a song.
Yeah, and it's
And it's a sorry, Matt, go
I
on.
was just going to say, so kind of like rave vibe as well, right? So it's the same approach with, so Duncan's obviously talking about, the guitar parts and like the vocals and that. It's the same electronically that
Yeah.
it's really kind of like those very, very classic uh different rave and hardcore as in like dance music hardcore noises and sounds and stabs and things like that. Um and we're just trying to like there's that I think I personally miss that kind of the DIY really fierce like it feels like it's barely held together nature of like old rave tracks. And yeah, I was just listening to it the other day, Barn, the Hex CD, the Global Chaos stuff and
Yeah.
all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And like it's that kind of I mean those guys are really polished, but like that it's got an energy to it. And um it's more about that. It's like so to Duncan's point there about the sort of the technical guitaring and that. Nothing against that, it's great. But I personally have always been more drawn to Max Cavalera's kind of style of playing
Yeah.
because it's like about emotion, and that's what I'm into. Is just kind of like energy and fierce, and that's what I want. And it's
Yeah.
yeah, that's where it's interesting.
Okay.
Like I get technical, but I'm not into it.
So it's kind of like
Yeah, I like
keeping
sorry,
it
Bunny,
like no,
go
that's
on.
right. Just sort of like from what I'm sort of hearing from you, it's like keeping it like that raw element to both styles of music. So like say back in the day when we were younger, we were listening to a lot of like the rave and go or whatever stuff.
Mm.
In fact, I still listen to it now.
Yeah, Go is
Um,
amazing. Yeah, yeah,
it's great, but there is a certain like it's the way it was produced. It wasn't perfect.
no,
Not like dance music, electronic music, and even metal now, everything is like bang on, like, and the riffs are sort of like programmed heavy. They're like, there's a real crispness to their sound when it comes to the production, when it almost sounds fake. Not saying
Mm.
that it is. Honestly,
Yeah, yeah,
I love the music of today as well.
of course.
Not being an old man here, it's all fucking fake. But no, just like I get it, like with that kind of like early dance, early hardcore, like sort of anything on DHR, and like labels like that. Obviously, Alec Empire being kind of the ultimate in the unhinged side of things, and even
Yeah,
Aphex Twin, actually, early Aphex Twin, like even the ambient stuff of his is just off the wall,
you got it.
you know. Um,
Yeah, that's
and
it.
and it's just
In a
sort of combining that, like you say, with the kind of like obviously the Sepultura, early Sepultura, um, sort of like guide you're going with Max Cavalera and everything. So it's kind of like got that thrash element to it, you know, where it was like that kind of like that was the sort of like real kind of like heavy punk music, like is where I kind of go with thrash. The riffs weren't that amazingly technical for a lot of them because it was literally just fast, one and done kind of thing, you know. Remember your first time.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like yesterday.
Yeah.
I
But yeah,
haven't had mine yet.
no,
Um,
really?
hey,
I don't believe you.
the like I'm a guitarist. I play the
Yeah.
guitar every day.
Okay.
I keep a guitar here, and when my boss is boring me, I'll sit and play guitar and do the video call on like mute, and I can play guitar. And so what I'm doing when I'm playing guitar for Nox Pulso is trying to do the bare minimum of playing. I'm trying to play like the least technical, the least complicated, the smallest amount in order to still make the point.
And that was a real
So
tension,
no,
wasn't it? That
it's
was a real
really fucking
tension.
hard,
Yeah.
and it's really hard because obviously I want to just, spaff off on the guitar and everybody goes, "Oh, he's so technical. Oh, he's so technical. Oh, he's so handsome as well."
Look at that
But
fingering.
yeah, but instead of doing that, I have to effectively, Mad Max 3 Master Blaster. I have to sort of be like whichever one the goon is,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
go like, no, you can only play. So in No Exit, the guitar, the main guitar riff is just a note, but being bent on the tuning peg.
Okay.
So there's no thought to it, except that there's loads and loads of thought to it of going like, how can I make this dumber? How can I make this the essence of what it's trying to say? Um, and if some kid, again, I'll come back to my point, Barney, which is if some kid goes, oh, he can't play guitar, they can go fuck themselves because
That's the headline.
uh,
That
yeah,
is the clip that's going up tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I get it. I get it. It's like it's taking it back to those roots and like, you know, you don't it's not about like overthinking it, even though it sounds like
we I'll give you some production rules because again, like we self-produce, so and you know what that's like when you're in a
I got a
cold,
couple of kids.
dank shed for a long time and you're recording it over and over and over again. With
That's
Nox Pulso, the guitar gets recorded once, the vocals get recorded once or twice. There's no auto tune. It is what it is,
okay.
and that's like my bit of it. So I usually do my bit of it really pretty quick. I don't actually know how Matt does his bit or what happens over there. What does happen over there? What are you doing?
You
Not
do.
much. Not much.
Just a sample pack, isn't it?
Is it? Yeah, just select a different noise. That's the one.
That's
Turn it over to Dunk. It's tough. Yeah, it's the thing which the most exciting part of the electronic bit is just trying to like get sounds which have been ignored or forgotten and kind of like maybe a little out of flavor, a little out of fashion even, and kind of like digging those ones up, which I just love. And it's a game of like just not once kind of similar to what Dunk's saying there, but just not like allowing that kind of over technical, over produced, over kind of like like if the sound's right and you're sort of pushing it through all sorts of weirdness, it's like, and great, go with that. Like if yeah, whatever like kind of crazy drum thing I've started chopping up and putting through things, if it's like going through like vocal stuff and through different foot pedals and all sorts of things, then fine. Like, because it's that's the way it should be. And it's, as I say, I keep coming back to it, but it's that emotional thing.
Yeah.
And so I deafen myself with these really simple little headphones, so I'm making it at like maximum volume because I just need to like feel it and
Yeah.
and then when it's whatever that is, start sending that to Dunk, start patching it together. And it's quite like, I'll be honest, it's quite visceral over here. I'm like hitting things a lot and smashing keyboards and stuff. And I don't think there's a producer in the world who would like deny this, but they may not confess it, is that, when it starts to really go, you got a kind of gurn going on, you start like jumping around and like, fuck it, this is it. And that's what goes over to, as soon as I got that energy, it's like, that's over to Duncan.
Nice.
If I ain't getting that, then you ain't getting it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that kind of falls by the wayside,
Mm.
and sometimes it's really heartbreaking because sometimes it's like, oh Matt, I really like this one, I
Yeah,
really thought this was a contender.
I kind
But
of know what you mean.
part of the deal is that like we've got to both be all in on it.
Yeah.
Um, and I I don't have children that I'm aware of. But if you loved one of them more than the other one, it would be a bit of a weird situation. So we have this like, I don't think we've ever talked about it as a, oh, well, that's the deal. But I think we both know that if it's not kind of working for one of us, but the other one's really pushing hard for it, it's not gonna go on.
Yeah.
Um, we both kind of have to believe in it.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe in it, that's a really rough gig. Like, like we've sort of jokingly said, it's not like we're doing this for money. So if we don't believe in it, then what? Then what now? Like
Doing it
I
for.
sometimes say to Matt, you've got to be self-satisfied because if you don't satisfy yourself, who the fuck else are you going to satisfy? And I think you can apply that to every moment of your life, perhaps not your sex life. Look after their satisfaction first, to Barney's listeners at home. I think they really need the help.
She will be watching that. Ah, yes, Elizabeth, yes.
Yeah. Transition out of that one.
I can't. I can't. Um, been married 18 years, guys. 18. Um,
Congratulations.
oh,
That's
That's a good
great.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
congratulations, man.
it's good. It is good. But yeah, no, obviously, like, people can go listen to that track now. Go listen to that and go listen to all your music right now. In fact, they can go listen to songs from the Wasteland as well. And they can kind of maybe understand the music more in that respect after you given that kind of explanation of how about you go about it in that with the methods that you have and the ethos that you have with it. Like it's just raw electronic and kind of organic energies.
If you imagine that the Prodigy just had a bit more guitar and a bit more metal to it, like when you heard Their Law for the first time, you're 15, you got the CD, and you're like,
Mm.
"Wow, yeah, that's cool."
Mhm.
If they just they turned that up by three, and then kept it like that, it's that.
Yeah.
If you want something technical and beautiful and perfect, we probably aren't your dudes.
Yeah,
Um,
You'd never have guessed it by looking at us.
that's all.
I've got the filter on.
Yeah.
Oh, have
Oh
I?
yeah.
I'm not a cat. You judge, I am
Yes.
not a cat.
You're a potato. Yeah, no, and this has kind of led up to like well, you got a festival coming up in April, which is very
That's
cool.
right.
Again, I'm gonna can miss this one, and you're playing with friends of the show as well on the same day as you guys. You're playing the Friday night of Resistance, or Rezistanz Festival up in Sheffield, which is a fantastic industrial electronic EDM kind of scene
Can't
festival
wait.
going for years. Them and Infest, both fantastic festivals. But you're playing with, I mean, the stage you're playing is headlined by Priest, for one. But I recently had Alt Black Era on my show
Oh, far out.
last year. Lovely, lovely.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, look,
Great record.
those girls are kicking ass. They're
They
wicked.
are.
Yeah, that album they've just dropped is brilliant.
Yeah,
So
absolutely
yeah,
fantastic.
very,
I
very
love it.
cool.
It fixes my drum and bass rock vibe, which is I love. That's
Yeah,
my
yeah.
jam. But yeah, no, fantastic. I've been watching those two rise from being like just TikTok band that fell into my feed one day, and just grow into what this is kind of becoming. I mean, going via Earache as well, which is
Fantastic.
Earache from back in the day. You wouldn't have thought it, but that they're helping and like encouraging like young artists like that to give them that platform. which is amazing. And
I
also,
think All Black Era are awesome, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them. I play them on my show periodically as well, and yeah, they're brilliant. I
nice.
I do wonder whether Earache is actually the right home for them. I think they would. I guess that Earache are going to develop them, and hopefully it'll be like a Sony or something after that. Earache will never speak to me again. That's fine because you've seen my previous answer about
Yeah.
that.
And that goes from 20 years ago as well.
Yeah, I
It
happen
does.
to like
I'm
earache.
sorry, we I do too. But when you start doing like reissues of Papa Roach,
Yeah,
I do wonder. I mean, it's not my problem. They can do what they want, you know. They can tell me to go fuck myself.
Yeah.
I really like that All Black record,
Yeah.
All Black Era record, and I think they're killing that. And I wish Earache and the girls all the best. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, they
yeah,
like I said, they've been great, and they've taken kind of the elements of what we had as kind of like the electronic music when we were younger, but through their parents, as what from Guy and Gallagher.
Jesus.
They're only like 18, 16. So, but it was like
Yeah, yeah,
their
they're young
parents
girls, aren't they? Yeah.
playing the Prodigy record to them, like Guilty Generation and Fat of the Land and stuff like that, and they wanted to reflect that energy that gave them. And that was their kind of like
What I really like about them is it feels really honest. Like you can tell that it's what their lived experience when they do those tunes. It's the same with Harpy as well. I think it feels like really. I completely believe what they're saying. Completely believe that's their view of that world at that moment, and then they're putting it to music, and I love that. I think that's
yeah,
fucking awesome.
no,
I think
it's
more
so
people
cool.
should do that.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Big up those ladies, and go buy that
Yeah.
album. It's called Rave Immortal. Or go check out the previous podcast last year, end of last year, had them on. But you're also playing with another friend of the show who I've had on multiple times. Toronto is Broken. He is a drum and bass producer, DJ, and he's got a live setup now with Reebs, MC Reebs, and Sabotage as well are on the album. I don't know if you've listened to them at all. He's got a couple of albums out. And yeah, he's based up in Leicester. We're due to meet up and play Warhammer together at some point.
Sick.
So we've been meaning to do it for so long,
I
and I was hoping to like come to this festival, but I'm going to be out the country again. I said it again.
What kind of jet-setting
I
lifestyle? Who
know.
knew that being a podcaster could
I
send
know,
you
right?
flying around the world every
This
time your
show.
old mates were going to
Yeah,
do a gig?
yeah.
Uh,
This show.
I I have listened to Toronto is Broken. I liked it. It's cool. It Obviously the vocal side of things I think is now being tackled by Reeves, like you say, Barn, in there, and
Yes.
I'm really curious to see how that comes across live because I think they're both going to be at the festival, and I
It's
think
gonna
that
be
should be
great.
Yeah,
awesome.
they're
Yeah.
building on the same thing because they're actually doing a tour together as well.
Okay.
Oh,
So
super cool.
she's on the albums and stuff. She's worked with him multiple tracks, multiple times.
It's one of those moments where on like a social media feed where everybody, as soon as that announcement happened,
Yeah.
they were all just like piling on, holy shit, this is cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can get a sort of you can test the temperature of the air by just seeing that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So I to be honest, I wasn't familiar with his work before seeing that announcement, and then I went
Yeah.
and checked it out. But I think it sounds really exciting.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I mean, I've had like because he's connected with a label that I've kind of worked with on and off for the past since the inception of this podcast, really.
Cool.
And before that, actually, to be fair, I used to play their music on various things. But it's a label that's run or owned by Cell Dweller. The
Oh, is
electronic
it fixed?
yes, fixed, yeah.
I
And
think I've watched your interview with the Browning.
yes,
Did you do that one?
yep, I did do that one. They are recent signings to Fixed, because they're another
Very
former
cool.
earache band as
Oh
well
wow.
from back in the day. They've been going for quite a while. Some good
They're a
albums.
really good
Like
band. Yeah.
Hypernova is really fucking good if you haven't
Yeah, it's just it's a muscular sound that.
Yeah. And I've got
Um,
his wife's and his actual side project on the show as well at some point soon. The Defect, because they're on Fixed as well, and they've just come off tour together. So that tour he's just been doing is with them as well. So
Really exciting.
Cool. So, but yeah, no, Fixed. I've had pretty much the entire roster on this show, but Toronto's broken. I've had a couple of times on here now because he's British, so it's easy to kind of set that up.
Oh, I'm sorry we're not going to see you at Resistance.
Yeah, it'd been good to hang out.
I know it's so annoying because I was like looking at it, I was like, I mean, I might be back if I'm back from where I'm going. I will do my best to get up to Sheffield because it's
Listeners, notice he hasn't said where he's going. Could be
fine.
Maldives, Greenland, Mars. If I'm back from Mars on the 16th of April, I will go to the Resistance Festival, see Nox Pulso.
I am planting the American flag on Mars.
There you go. Wow. Yeah.
Of the
Well,
Trump
fair enough.
administration. No, I'm even closer to that kind of regime. I'm going to Korea. So yeah.
South, I hope.
Wow.
Yes, South. My Eli or Heather, as they were known, but now known as Eli,
Okay.
is doing a year abroad over there at the moment
Wow.
for their university.
That's
They're
amazing.
old. They're at university.
Yeesh.
Well, wish him all the best, Bonnie. I
That's super
remember
cool.
when Eli was knee high to a grasshopper.
Yeah.
That's
and now
that's cool. So,
they're all over there now. They've been over there for like the past like 4 or 5 months.
wow.
But we're going over to visit because like I've not been over that side of the world before, and we were
You
like,
gotta go.
gotta go.
That sounds
Come on
great.
there.
Yeah.
And I love the Korean food that's kind of come over here. So and my like everyone's like all the kids are into like K-pop and all that kind of stuff, which is totally bizarre to me.
Is that why they wanted to go to do this year in Korea, or is it
Not because of K-pop, no, but
there's stranger things have happened.
True that.
they're learning Korean as a language,
Okay.
and they're also doing English over there as well. As just part of they have to do another module.
Very cool. Must be proud. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, no, totally. Like totally blown away because they've gone over to the other side of the world without
Yeah, it's huge.
any of
That's
it. Obviously with their
incredible.
friends, but it's like
Still.
It's still super brave, man.
oh no,
Yeah.
totally.
That's such a brave move from them to just go.
And the least we can do is go over there and visit and see how they've been living and everything. And,
Yeah.
and stuff. So, but yeah, that's where I'll be at that point. If I'm back, I'm not sure on the exact dates, but if I'm back before, I will try and make it because I want to see you guys. I want to see Toronto. I want to see Alt Black Era as well, and Priest as well. And I'm just gonna have a quick.
I like Priest. I got turned on to Priest almost immediately when they first came out after leaving Ghost. So I was really pumped when Priest were announced for that lineup. Really looking forward to that. There's it just speaks to everything that I like. You know, it's sinister, dark pop music.
What's
You've got
like?
a priest in a gimp mask. Great.
That works.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean that's a huge it's a huge festival, especially for that sort of like genre of music as well. Like to get on that bill, and they've
I think it's the biggest industrial festival in the UK. I know Infest might hate me for saying that, and Infest have just changed to being in Manchester, but they haven't booked us, have they? So how could they possibly be the biggest if they haven't booked us? So Infest, book us next year.
you can't do both in the same year.
I think it would be a bit much, but you know, this is like as if we were asked. You know, we were so oh well, we couldn't possibly do both. They didn't ask us. You know, let's be realistic about it.
If they did ask us, the answer from earlier, yes.
Well,
we don't play live very often.
Yeah.
And because when we do, it's such an arse ache because we live like 400-mile round trip away from each other.
Yeah.
And it means we've got to rehearse. We don't just sort of turn up and do the thing. We try to kind of make it as good as we can within those parameters. And the parameters like it's punk rock, but not as you know it, Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
at the intro,
it takes like
writing that down.
a lot of pain to get it done and go and do it. So it has to be kind of a tempting gig at
Yeah.
this moment. And
And this one is, man, really
Oh
looking
no,
Resistance
forward to
totally.
it.
is more than
Yeah.
tempting.
Oh
It's
my
like,
God.
fuck,
It's so,
yeah,
so
we're
honored.
absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
we're delighted to be going and doing it.
Yeah.
And um, Leighton squeezed us onto the bill at the last minute. I think
Yeah.
he'd already actually booked the whole show
Yeah.
and then sort of made a slot for us on that Friday evening
It's just amazing.
to get us in, which is, I mean, what can you say? Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really cover it. But I think if anybody wants to catch us live, those chances are gonna be slim. We're not going and doing like, Barney, the boiler room and then the place in Bognor Regis, and then we we're too old to survive that.
Yeah, I feel
Um,
that.
so the moments when we do it are going to be sort of few and far between. But we really like doing it, I think, Matt. Do we?
Yeah. I mean, well, to your point there, like it is uh, uh, yeah, when we play it, it's incredibly physical thing as well. I mean, like for sure, like definitely work my way up towards doing it, and it's yeah, and like we just yeah, the physicality of it is it's bloody hard work. It's like good. You think 5 minute 5 minute rounds with 1 minute gaps in between championship sort of stuff. It's yeah, it's pretty heavy going. But a lot of fun as well though. So like yeah, to your point there, Dunky, it's we are like lucky enough that we can pick and choose bits and bobs and we like as we've been sitting at a bunch, which is that this is definitely not done for money or anything like that. So it's really if everybody works, if works out for everybody, if like the promoter's into it, if we're into it, if like it's this, then we'll be there and it'll be great. But like if it's like those shows where just we just won't fit on the bill and that sort of thing, and it's like yeah, very flattering, but yeah, maybe pass on those
We
ones.
we get asked quite a lot, like, can you go and play here? Can you go and do this? And the reality of being in our situation, which is like 10,000 people on Facebook, well, that's great. How many of them are going to go to Bognor Regis and see us in the Dog and Duck? One. So, what's the point of doing that, of putting ourselves through the emotional, the financial, the physical pain of doing all of that?
Yeah.
Then you go, well, I'm a musician, so I have to do what I have to do. Like, a dog will hunt. But does the dog have to hunt there and then? So we have to be like really careful about where we pick and where we choose it. Long and short way round of saying like resistance wasn't even a hunt. It was just like, God damn, that's perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll be there.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Um,
there's only a few places that are perfect when it comes to that sort of thing. And that's one of them.
yeah.
Oh
Obviously,
man,
if the
yeah.
likes like if you manage to bag a support slot for I don't know Ministry, if he decides to tour again, anything like
Yeah,
that,
I mean,
those sort
so
of ilk of bands, Sick Puppy, stuff like that. That
yeah, you bite those are like dream you bite their arm off.
yeah,
We I won't I can't say this on the show, but I'll tell you afterwards if you want. But there is like a mid level. That's a really bad thing to say about somebody that you're hoping to support on the tour, isn't it? Oh yeah, they're a mid level,
I've
but
seen bigger.
we have yeah. I He's stealing my lines, man.
Oh no,
Uh, there is
we've
there is
spent
like
many a night together, sir.
there is there has been like those kinds of things, and if they happened, uh, cool, and of course, like
Yeah,
we'd be honored and we go and do it. Um, and it's not to say I think this might come across as like really arsey, but hey, I've got this far.
I was going to say.
So
So
you go and play like your local place, but your local place isn't your local place. It's 400 miles for me or Matt to go
yeah,
and do your local place.
yeah,
And then if you're expecting our name to pull in a load of punters because we've got 10,000 people on Facebook or something, the clue's in the name, promoter,
yeah,
promote.
yeah,
And then we'll do our fucking job if that happens.
yeah,
And I'd say this is more informed by my previous life experiences than Nox Pulso stuff, to be honest.
yeah,
But just of like, you don't want to go uh to the arse end of nowhere, which isn't the arse end of nowhere. It's somewhere that's really meaningful to that person. It's that promoter's experience of live music, and they're putting it on for their local community and their local scene. It's all really admirable stuff. They just have to turn up.
yeah.
And if they don't, then that creates this weird moment where it's like, are we going to do that? Probably not.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I remember playing many shows to
3 people or
a man and his
something.
dog.
Yeah.
Literally, there was a man and a dog.
And the dog had ear defenders on.
Yeah, yeah.
It's-
I think that was at that Iron Maiden pub as well, if my memory serves correctly.
Ruskin Arms or something like that.
that fucking Iron Maiden pub.
The one where Iron Maiden started, that now is getting
Yeah.
really popular as a pub again.
The yeah, that gig, like irreparably, and
One of them.
indelibly,
Yeah.
indisputably, undeniably, indelibly destroyed my right ear.
Oh,
And it
Yeah.
was dog shit, that gig. And so then you start saying, I love going to see bands. I love seeing live music. I go once a month. It's been like a thing I've done for a long time, whether it's a local band or an opera or a big band. And I don't, I think that promoters have a really hard job. But it's some of them that just don't do their job.
Yeah.
It's a really hard job, so I just won't do it. I'll expect you to bring your friends and family 200 miles to all pay 10 quid a ticket to come in and drink beer at £6 a pint so that you can then go home with nothing back. And it makes it sound money grubbing. It's
angry
repulsive.
I was going to say,
And another thing,
so angry.
get back
he's gonna
here.
vomit.
Get back here. You'll be off this tour like that. And another thing. So they're anybody trying to sort of eke a living out of music needs to realize, I guess,
Yeah.
it's not, don't do it for the money.
Oh no.
Do it for the love, right? And then if money comes, it probably will. But if you're doing promoting, be the best promoter you can. Do
Well,
the flyer.
I
Go
think
to the show.
the thing is that I think this is more of a it's not I don't think it's a problem unique to, if I may, I don't think it's a problem unique to kind of like venue promoters. It's I think across the board, I think that
I'll
the
hear the
music
objection.
I think the music industry just isn't 100% sure how to promote things anymore. I think it got kind of caught out with the social media stuff, and I think that where once upon a time you'd have A&R people which would work with bands and kind of like figure out their look and kind of generate stuff and make things happen. I think that was incredibly powerful, like Jedi stuff back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. But in the wake of where we are now, those skills just aren't transferable, and like I think they're left being like and I can understand it because like you're sort of saying, Doug, about how difficult a job it is to be a promoter. It's like if you're going to go to your boss and say, I think this band's really, really good. I think we should put them on. And the boss goes, well, how many how many Instagram followers have they got? Well, they've just started out. It's like, whereas you could go to your boss and go, these guys have got like 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 Instagram followers. And so you can understand that, like, why that metric becomes so important. And it meant that people did lose sight of how to do that kind of more traditional PR stuff and A&R stuff even. And it's just a case of like we just industry wide, like there's been it's an optimization problem that everyone's kind of optimized for social media, and that doesn't make really, if you're a local venue, that doesn't make much sense because if you got 1 million followers worldwide and the world's got 8 billion people in it, and you're a local venue, you don't have to be a mathematician to figure out, well, how many people are actually here? And but as I say, extraordinarily difficult because you've got to go to somebody. And like if you do put a show on and nobody turns up, you could go, well, look, at least the numbers suggested that there should be people turning up. And it's not
But
just not just local venues, it's labels and all sorts of are all in this really
it is
sticky
completely
situation.
right through like PR, labels, booking, and it should be a simple case of somebody like Barney loves music, knows about music, and then is interested.
Yeah,
Well, that's fucking easy.
we're in.
Mm.
Great. It makes perfect sense. What doesn't make sense is like, oh, I don't really know, so I'm gonna look at how many likes they've got and then book them. That's a pretty dicey sort of way. And then it's one level below that where it's, well, I don't really know, but I think I can probably get them to bring 20 friends and all pay 5 quid a ticket if I like Leicester Square, number one Leicester Square has that business model. I think it's called pay pay to
Pay to play.
play.
Pay to play.
Yeah,
Pay to
yeah.
play.
That's the
Um
old model of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and my answer to that and my advice to any young musician, Barney, is quite simple. Go fuck yourselves, is what you should say to that promoter, because you shouldn't be doing pay to play. They should be doing their job
Yeah.
and making sure that it works. This sounds like me and Matt going, well, we won't play your shitty venue. The truth is, we won't play your shitty venue, but if you work at a good venue and you do your job, we will be there
Yeah.
with bells on.
Yeah.
And it's it what else can I say about live music? It's a great thing. I think it's really helpful for people, but it is definitely a place where a musician's desire to entertain and to be loved and to have the ego boost of being loved causes them to get into all these kind of predicaments that if it was a carry-on movie, you'd think it was a hilarious caper, that they do like almost anything to get into this situation where they might play a gig for this one promoter with the big nose who says this or that. And you'd be like, this is a spoof. This can't be real. Nobody would do this. But they do,
Yeah.
and it's exploitative. And um I don't know about you, but one of the things I liked about heavy metal as a teenager is I fucking hate bullies. And the weird thing about, you like that sort of music and you get bullied. So it's a perpetual cycle. It's ironic, really. Oh, I hate bullies, so I listen to heavy metal. No, I'm being bullied because of my hair. Uh, oh shit, if only there was something I could do. Um, but bullies are cunts.
Yeah.
And those kinds of manipulative tactics where you see someone's dream and their ambition and their want to be respected and to express themselves, and you weaponize that against them to sell that to their friends and family is, I can only really think of one word, it's despicable.
Yeah.
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 And this is, we're sort of talking earlier on today about like, Don, you remember what it's like, kind of like the whole kind of rave vibe, they're locked into a kind of incredibly small space with big speakers in there and like cool visuals and all that sort of thing. And I think there's a real thirst for that stuff and that kind of like weird, um, like for real nature of it. And I think that like, you know, it just to Duncan's point there, that it can feel like the wrong people perhaps got, well, not the wrong people, as I say, it's an optimization problem. They just looked at some different stuff, and they were just trying to figure out like where if you're trying to figure out where the money is, then you go for the bigger numbers. That's as easy as that.
Yeah.
Rather than like, Jesus Christ, this is really cool, and I think that my audience which come here would really like this. As it goes, I don't think they would like us. You know, as we established at the top
I
of
don't
this.
want them to like us.
Yeah, I
It's
think
not for them.
as we
They can
established
fuck
at the
off.
top of this.
I thought I made myself clear.
Jesus. You get- But it's like yeah, so it's a bloody minefield. But like the thing is, it's also a kind of a fun one. And like this is
Yeah.
the thing, is that when we do get to play and when we do get to do this stuff, it's a proper sort of cathartic release of all of this stuff. And it's just like, and so similarly, when we put music out, it's because like we want to. There is an algorithmic pattern to stuff, and there is things which you should do, but it's like, yeah, yeah, we could do that. But like once again, I'd much rather Pulso optimized for maximum kind of like impact and energy rather than optimized for maximum horseshit
Yeah.
of just like,
Right.
like, oh great, we got some more numbers. And it's like, because actually, if we're all being honest with each other, like the numbers thing is kind of like there's some fuckery going on.
Well, yeah, there's always
Yeah, I
been
mean,
like manipulation of numbers
Sure.
throughout
Yeah, good
the
point.
entire history of most modern music, but especially now because there's all these algorithms and stuff like that that kind of
Mm,
like that people think they know, and
right.
then it gets changed, and then like they find certain release schedules work with an algorithm or they get the
Sure.
maximum out of it, but then it changes. And it's always the thing of when someone figures something out, it changes. And this is the thing that like, especially with like the old style music sort of scene, when they would curate a band, they would give them media training, they would give them
Right.
you know, opinion on their looks. They would build this kind of thing. They would send them out on tours with into like, if for pop music it was like clubs, they do live PA stuff like that. um and now like it's kind of like they've got to find that kind of viral hit, but even after the viral hit, they're not real numbers. Like
Yeah.
it's the people that stick around. It's the people that like you can have, like you're saying, 10,000 followers on whatever platform.
but
But
I would say we probably have 10 fans, if that
yeah,
makes sense. Like
yeah,
there's about
like,
10 people that listen, interact,
yeah,
respond. So that gives a sense of the scale of
yeah,
the
exactly.
ludicrousness of it.
It's the kind of like I've been looking into this recently, well, not recently, past few years, but and it's one of my conspiracy things that I love to get into. But
I love it.
the dead internet
That
theory,
internet theory.
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
where
Ooh.
where everything, yeah, I know, we are here, people, we are real, but the fact of like a lot of the conversations online, a lot of the news articles that get generated, a lot of the sort of reactions and all that kind of stuff are all bot related. So you
Mm,
look at some like people's followers and it will be like username, I don't know, Mike Flowers, but they'll have an underscore of 10,776 at the end of it. And you're like, and then you see someone else with another massive number. It's like, is that really going to be that many people with that name? Because you remember how names are
yeah.
generated online. You go to Gmail and you type in your name, and if you're like, not if I wasn't the only Barnaby Wattingham, I'd be fucking shocked. It's such a fucking rare name. But if it wasn't, if there was, I'd fucking email them. It's like, but you'd have that like Barnaby Wattingham 1, Barnaby Wattingham 2 at Gmail,
Sure.
and though or B Wattingham or whatever, and it's like over the years I've kind of looked at it because I look at my own stats, my own numbers for this, for
You
any,
have to. Yeah.
yeah, and for everything else that I do, and the nature of my job being technical as well,
Of
I kind of
course.
look at all the sort of back end stuff, like all the internal like bits and bobs
Yeah.
that I have access to. But yeah, just this dead internet theory is like, it's like something like 60% of the internet is not real. It is just bots flying back and forth, and it's going to be infiltrated with AI now, like
Mm,
proper AI. Oh, I say proper AI. We've tried to use AI before. You've seen the things that kind of go with that.
yeah.
But yeah, just having that kind of look at it, and those numbers that promoters look at, that record companies look at, can easily be faked. Like I get emails all the time saying buy 1,000 followers for $5, buy, whatever, 10, 1,300 comments on a one post, you know, whatever.
You may well have seen, Barney, when we did a Zero Cipher thing a couple of years ago. I think you got copied in on my response to one of those emails.
Yes.
Guess what it was, listeners at home? It was go fuck yourselves. Because
It
if you
really
don't like, yeah, I'm nothing if not consistent.
exactly. Throughout the whole time I've known you, Duncan, you are a constant. Um,
He's missed a few letters, but it's a family show.
I've mixed up.
It's a
I think there's
family
a
show.
different vowel and a different. Anyway,
It's a family show.
I know. Everyone's family's watching. Sorry, mother. But yeah, like this whole like I say, dead internet theory is something that I've
Interesting.
I've gone down a little bit of a rabbit hole on it, and just sort of like because I found it quite interesting looking at the responses I get online to certain posts, not every post, but certain posts.
Sure.
And like the thing now with like Instagram, you got this collaboration thing, which is great because then artists can choose to collaborate with you, and the post goes out on both their feeds.
Brilliant.
And that happened to me the other day, most recent one, and it went absolutely fucking batshit crazy. And it was just like I just had a chat with such and such from such and such, and I just made them a collaborator, and they said okay. And then just like next morning, I was woken up with all these like notifications.
Fantastic.
A lot of the username.
Who were they? You might as well name them.
Oh, well, it's Lordy.
Cool.
So they're a genuine band. Don't get me wrong.
They
won
Eurovision.
No,
I remember I watched the Eurovision religiously.
Yeah, good, nice. And their song was Hard Rock Hallelujah. So
I knew you'd get it. I just knew you'd get it. It was a complicated pun for the listeners at home, but maybe Barney's got more intelligent listeners than I have.
Well, you don't know.
Or you as well.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm not making any assumptions.
We might just start the interview with you just going, go fuck yourself, and that'll be it. Like just an hour of pause silence.
Yeah. Oh,
if you could cut all of the go fuck yourselves together, that would be pretty much perfect.
I haven't got time for that. If there's an AI generated version to do that, I'll do it. But actually, I might tell. I do.
We can but dream.
We can. But yeah, no, like that sort of side of things is like I say, when it comes to like even like when I go out DJing and stuff like that, like I occasionally DJ other places. Like sometimes the numbers come into effect. Like,
of course.
So when you go out DJing, how many new songs are you playing? Like how many songs from the last year would you play on a typical night?
On a typical night when I am DJing, 3, 4, maybe 5, depending on.
That's quite a lot.
That's good,
so,
yeah.
and how many songs?
I make more of a concerted effort to do so, and I look at I look at the trends and the chart and the listenership and all that kind of stuff, and obviously the sort of like impact of said band, like. If
you play a tune that's like this, I've looked at the charts, this is looking cool, there's this many people liking it, I'm going to play this song, and then there's only one poor lonely soul on the dance floor,
that's most of my set.
Does that song get played next time, or is that one
it depends how long that stays in its current forming, because a lot of the times some songs are still slow burners. There is still that method does work for a lot of artists still, and I've had a few of them on the show where they've worked that angle, the traditional angle I would call it, of like releasing
what does that?
So like a slow burn is kind of like they'll have either an album or a song they just release, and the sort of stream of promotion and radio play is elongated over time. So how songs used to get popular, they never used to go straight to number one. They would work their way up the charts. So they'd get like radio play or playlist play as it is now, and kind of work that. They do like a 3, 4, 5 month with one song, and then maybe another song after that, and then like an album or something like that.
Makes sense.
And kind of like slow burn it. That's what I call it. It's the slow burn compared to what it is now, where it's like something every month, and keep that going, keep the momentum going. Otherwise, you get forgotten. You've got to stay within the algorithm.
Yeah.
You got to stay with the trends, whether it's that song, it doesn't matter what song, as long as your band name is there, it keeps going. And there are labels like Fix that do that. They release every month. Every week I get tracks from them, whether it's a new track, whether it's a remix, whether it's something, and they're all constantly on it. They're like just content. Some of them do online content. Some of them do, like lyric videos, production videos, or go out on tour. There's only a few of them that do actually tour out of all those bands. But they've got quite a strict like rhythm of releasing tracks like every week. Just as that example. But then I get stuff from, I don't know, Nuclear Blast, someone like that.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's tracks every week, but it's different bands every time.
Yeah.
So it's 1 or 2 tracks a week, and it's depending on the level of band. Because they've got Sharp Tone, which is their like sister label.
Cool.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
so I get tracks every week from them, but it's not as prolific. It's not as regimented. It's not as like trying to sort of go into that algorithm. It's using almost, I wouldn't say traditional, but sort of more modern release schedules and trying to get, because obviously most bands will kind of like give themselves their own PR if they're big enough.
Mm.
So you release something to a bunch of people, then it spreads. It's like the pandemic. You release a virus to someone and it will spread. Whereas like with new bands, it's either you constantly release or you have to figure out the algorithm, or there is this kind of like falling into the sort of, buying followers in order to sort of try and generate, more and more things. But there,
Yes, it's
but
funny. I
sorry.
suspect there's going to be another way.
Yeah.
I do feel like I just got a feel it's a completely unfounded, but I got a feeling that like this is going to buckle. Something's
Oh
got
no,
to
it will.
give.
It will.
Yeah.
It will. And
I
it's
think it's one thing that we probably all share in common. It's actually like pop music's pretty cool.
oh
Mm.
yeah,
I think that people that pick on you for liking pop music are bullies as well.
yeah.
And like what you like, and that's okay.
As my
And
kid
if you
told me
like
the
Taylor
other day.
Swift,
Yeah.
or I think Lady Gaga is brilliant. She's a complete rock star to me. The delivery, the method, the whole way that it works,
Yeah.
all of it's wonderful. I'm not that fond or familiar with Taylor Swift, but I don't see why it should be any different to being like this idea that music should be like, oh, I'm a snooty. I know better about this. And if this one's popular, then this one's bad. You know what I say to those people, Barney?
Yeah. Go on.
Drum
See,
roll.
I can't remember.
What a catchphrase.
Exactly. Um,
If your next album is not
it,
called that, I'm going to be really fucking disappointed.
it can't be called that till album number 4,
Oh,
for reasons.
can it be a
There's
bonus
there's
track?
a there's law. We've got law. We've taken a leaf out of Sleep Token's book, and we've
Oh,
created law that
oh,
only people that really sort of only the 10 out of 10,000 people would really sort of pay attention to.
okay.
And maybe they'll find it and maybe they won't, but now is not the time to reveal it, I
No,
suspect.
no, don't spoil it.
Um,
Don't spoil it because
uh,
let people
but
say.
it's like it's buried in all of it.
Okay.
Um, almost every song, apart from the first 3 songs, which were the 3 songs that we wrote when
They're
Matt
kind of
sort
like
of tricked
demos,
me
weren't
into
they?
doing
Yeah,
some
yeah.
Ministry
Pilot.
covers.
Yeah,
Those
pilots,
are
yeah.
like, yeah, like throwaway ones. But everyone after that has got the lore
Okay.
embedded in it.
Nice.
And it's as a clue, I guess, it's quantum.
Okay.
You remember? Do you remember Quantum Leap? You
Yes.
must have liked that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a great
you
show.
can
Yeah.
move through
Remade it.
time and space. Did they remake
They
it?
didn't
Yeah.
remake it.
There's a new season. If you can watch it on
Yes.
well, if you got to subscribe to Paramount Plus, if you can get a free trial.
I don't think that'll be
Um,
happening.
but I think it's like 1 or 2 they've like continued it. Like they've
Oh,
not
okay.
remade it. They've kind of continued the story with someone different. Because obviously Ziggy's no longer with us.
Right.
Yeah.
And the other guy, he was in Star Trek, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was
I
cool.
can't remember his name, but
I just know him as Sam Beckett, obviously.
yeah,
He
yeah.
had that terrible karate kick he used to do.
Uh, that's a great show.
Yeah, it was wicked.
But yeah, no, yeah, it's a great show. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, people, I love a good storytelling. And if there's
Well,
law
that's
involved,
literally all of the all of the Nox Pulso songs, once we kind of got past that first, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Was to say, oh, they're storytelling. So none of them are, I love you, I hate you, I'll put you in the freezer, or whatever you would choose to write about your significant other. Your words, not mine, Barney.
Yeah, I know that off the album.
So rather than sort of saying this like intensely personal stuff, there generally are storytelling from the point of view of like, well, we're going to continue an oral tradition,
Mm,
as in the ear, not
yeah.
oral as
Yeah.
in the mouth. Um,
Very
and
graphic.
Well, the
I hope the
microphone
listeners
should
at
have
home.
been.
Please.
If only I had a Rode podcaster, I could have demonstrated this.
We grasp it with both hands.
And just like it's like when you first got taught how to use, did you have a lesson at school about being shown how to use a condom?
Did we?
No.
Oh, you've got
Did we?
children, haven't you? Obviously not.
No. Yeah, exactly.
Was it the PE teacher?
There was something called the
He had a
withdrawal.
Rode podcaster, Matt. That's all I can say.
Okay.
He had a Rode podcaster, and I
Home
couldn't
economics.
walk correct.
Mr. Robinson. Oh. Ah.
Yeah, so it's storytelling.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's humorous and sometimes it's sort of cautionary, but it's never like, oh, I'm angry with you because you dumped me.
Okay.
Because of course that would never happen to me.
Of course. Prolific,
As
consistent.
if.
Yeah. Constant.
Incontinent. No, wait.
Impotent. No.
Wait, stop. Rewind the tape. He said he could do edits.
I can do sound effects, I think.
Oh.
Okay.
I could do sound effects too. It, uh,
I've got a
So
whole
there's
soundboard I've never used till now.
Go
Now's
on, give
the
us
time.
another one.
Another one.
Yeah.
Can you hear that?
That's a
It's like-
hi-hat.
Yeah, it's like got some chirping.
I can sort of hear the chirping.
Yeah.
Very
I
good.
can't hear the chirping.
Yeah. But yeah,
I heard the
there's no
hi-hat.
soundboard on there.
It needs like 8 dB more gain or something.
It probably does. I've not
make it more effective.
I've not set it up to use. It's literally the default on there, and I've just the first time just hit one of them, hoping it was something.
And it was.
And it
You
was.
could probably take a sample now of "Go fuck yourself," and every now and again,
You know what?
just periodically play it.
I might go back through all my podcasts and see if there's any moments I can pick out, but that's going to be one of them. Next time I have Max
What a
Cavalera
gift.
on, I'll be like,
I thought the
Derek
Max
Green. I'll go
Cavalera
for
show was like I thought the Max Cavalera show was cool. It just he's a hero.
Oh no,
He's a hero.
I was
Yeah.
shitting myself before.
Yeah, he's amazing.
I
Amazing.
wish he'd been a bit more. This isn't on you, Barney, at all. I wish he'd been he felt like he was phoning it in a little bit, I thought. And I wish he'd just engaged with you a little bit more, because you opened that show by sort of saying like, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I like this stuff.
Yes.
I
have
metal
the shorts.
is like,
Yeah.
and
literally, I have the shorts.
And it's like, I really wish he'd just gone, yeah, this isn't just my day job. Actually, I'm pretty lucky to be able to be doing this. And this guy wants to talk to me about music and about what I'm doing, so I should engage with him.
Yeah.
So Max, if you ever want a support band, go fuck yourself.
Well, I mean, the thing is, with a lot of these interviews that I do, like, just to be like, I hope people don't get this side of it, but a lot of them are going through. They've done like 20 interviews that day, and I've got the next half an hour, 25-minute slot. And to be honest, some of my questions can be generic, can be like, and sometimes it works really well. Like, I'll have someone on, and we end up talking for ages, like, and we stay in contact afterwards, which is great as well. It's happened with the bands that I've kind of like had on here, and we've gone on to form sort of things outside the podcast. But when you get like the big names on, sometimes they're really good, sometimes they are literally just going through the motions, and it's just kind of something you have to balance. So like obviously having Max on, actually getting to speak to him was enough for me. It was just
Yeah, it's amazing.
like
Yeah,
I
you
got
know,
that.
like
Yeah, it's
he's
really
doing
good.
Nail Bomb now, isn't he? Has he
Doing
got back
Nail
to
Bomb,
Nail
and
Bomb?
then I guarantee 2026 there'll be a Sepultura reunion. Just putting that out there because it's
Is
the
it?
30th years of Roots.
I've got
I was going to
massive,
say
massive regret
anniversary.
about telling him to fuck himself now.
I
Uh,
can't confirm it.
Yeah,
I can't
that
confirm
was
it
me
'cause obviously,
rewinding that.
yes, I can't confirm it because obviously, like I'm in contact with the labels and stuff like that, but they've not said anything on that. But I'm looking at what bands are doing, the trends of that, and it's a 30th anniversary for that album, which was fucking massive for them. Um, maybe not as
massive
good,
full stop. It was
yeah,
huge,
maybe not as good as
amazing.
Yeah,
Chaos
that's a
AD,
great record.
maybe not
Yeah,
as good as all that stuff. But he is doing Nail Bomb. There is the Cavalera tour where him and
hmm
Igor are doing stuff, not just like Cavalera conspiracy and stuff.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
got another band with his son. I've had his son on the show. Um, I think it was Go Ahead and Die, I think they were called.
That's right. I think I saw a
Um,
bit of him playing on it because as it goes, it was funny. We should be talking about Sepultura, but I was watching that amazing video from when they're doing like a recording of Rata Mahata in like some
Oh, yeah, I've
like
seen it. Yeah,
do you know the one I'm talking about? It's this amazing studio and there's this fucking great
yeah.
guy on
This
percussion for it.
percussionist, and he's there, and he's
Holy
working.
wow.
And it's one of those like awesome
Jesus.
moments where you realize the power of collaboration. Like you
Oh,
can't, nobody can paddle their, well, obviously somebody can paddle their own canoe, but you are better as the sum of your part of the
sure.
part. The sum
That
of the
was
parts is more than the value of the individual parts, as long as the parts aren't spare parts. Because if you've got a load of spare parts, then they're fucking useless. And sometimes bands think that, they're like, oh, well, we're better than the sum of our parts. Are we? You're fucking dog shit. What? Why am I in a band with you? Oh no,
even the
you're
best
great.
drummer in this
Yeah, I
band.
should be
God
in
damn it.
don't bring up your drummers. Don't bring up
And another thing
Oh,
about the drummers, you'll be off this tour like that.
yeah.
Right.
This is
Those fucking drummers.
PTSD now.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
Yeah, it's a therapy session.
but no,
Because I can see why he put it off. Or
yeah.
Barney's internal dialogue. I must give these guys an interview.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
Do I have to?
Their own hole. This is great. But I mean, I've had the other side of it. I've had Derek Green on the show as well, which is actually on YouTube, my most listened to or most viewed podcast.
The thing
Wow,
about
cool.
that dude, and I'm gonna stick up for him before you even get in there. He sounds fucking great.
Yeah.
Live, he sounds brilliant. I saw Max Cavalera do the Sepultura thing, Brixton Academy, 1996.
Yeah.
I've seen him after that, and he may also be wonderful. But Derek Green is a killer frontman. He's got a great
Yeah,
voice. He's got incredible stage presence. He's absolutely nailing it. The problem is he's forced to be in Sepultura,
Yeah.
and
More.
it's like the poisoned chalice. Like, what do you do? Because all of the fans, me included, are like, I don't like Derek Green. I preferred it when it and it's like so hard for that dude, but he's brilliant.
Yeah.
I can't see
absolutely.
anybody
Yeah,
that
he's
could have done it
fantastic.
better than him.
No way.
The
Yeah,
thing
he's
with
great.
that, it was a question that came up that I posed to him, and it was like how like after it was like 20 years of fronting this fucking band. Like what how do you like continue to put up with people wanting like the original lineup back when there's 20 years have gone down the line, eight
Mm.
albums have been
Insane.
released, and like there are some
Yeah.
really good albums amongst those eight albums.
Yeah,
They're not all gold, but they're good. um
Against is a really good album,
and
I
yeah,
think.
and like and I really enjoyed, is it Quadra, which is one of the more recent ones.
Yeah, that's quite
um,
recent, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think that was the one I actually had them on for as well. But it was, it was like, and that was the bit that actually that clip went viral because he answered it. And that's what got picked up by Blabbermouth and all the
I'm
other
sure. Yeah.
like metal outlets that
Well,
kind of
yeah.
like
I think they're going to get a few
um,
new quotes from this
I know
interview,
this is
Barney.
why that's what I'm hoping.
I can
It's just
tell you,
like
Blabbermouth right now, they're flabbermouth. They're gasping at the seams, waiting for a little bit of this interaction.
I can't wait to send this to them. Um, if it gets picked
I
up.
can't wait either. And when they don't publish it, you know what? Oh,
they, yeah, they definitely won't unless you're an eight. Well, no, you are an aging rocker, so they might.
yeah, yeah. Technically, I am. The strangest thing about being an aging rocker, Barney, and
Yep.
I think you might feel this a little bit yourself, is how unwilling they are to say it to your face.
Yeah,
Isn't that strange?
yeah, it's
Hello, Blabbermouth. Come and see me at the Rezistanz Festival, and if you got a problem, say it to my face. We'll see what fucking happens next. I know what happens
Where did
next.
this get so confrontational?
this is where I get my shit kicked out of me. Uh, I'm not a fighter, man. I'm not even a lover. Um,
I
it's,
remember posting on the Metal Hammer forum about you when you were getting a little bit of abuse.
oh yeah,
And I
good
was
old
like,
days.
but DJs are for loving, not for fighting.
Exactly.
There you go. But guitarists are for fighting.
Yeah,
So fucking come and say it to my face and we'll see what happens next.
yeah. And then what happened?
Jesus.
Nothing happened. That's right.
Yeah, great. I have a bad back, so I
Yeah.
have to talk through the various legal options.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and I talked to Blabbermouth's legal team.
Legal team. Yeah.
They're wonderful people. They just don't pay enough attention to us.
No, exactly.
And
They need to pay attention. They need to get that clickbait from you.
like, well,
Because that's what they
if
run on.
if
So
and if they're not going to accept it when it's offered up to them on a silver platter, I don't know what else I could do for them, really. You know, I'm trying to help them out.
yeah, you're not definitely not doing this for the money. So I think we can definitely like say he's not faking that.
No, no.
I'm making the job easy.
Yeah.
Just post about the Blabbermouth. See what happens next.
We'll see what happens. Um, I am gonna have to edit this fucking episode.
Fade to obscurity. Is that a
Yeah.
preset on the Zoom button? Fade to obscurity.
that happens after every episode that I do. That's it. No one remembers. But yeah, no, it's like obviously back to the music.
Was it talk about music?
So I think so. I was
Back to the music. All right.
we're doing now. I've hit everything. But if you have listened to my show before, I'm going to hit you with some of the ending questions.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I was going to prime Matt about this, but I think Matt's also listened to your show before.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm going to
good.
preempt it. I'm just taking over now.
So-
Barney's going to ask you about your three most influential records, Matt.
Pivotal.
Pivotal. Different
So not,
expression.
not your favorite records. You can give me your top
Mm.
3 favorite records of all time. Everyone can do that.
Yeah, pivotal.
If you're the same age as me, it's usually the same. If it's the most people that I do, it's normally Hybrid Theory.
Yeah, I could see that. I
And I
could see
get
that.
extra grey hair.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Young
there you go.
Imagine Theory being your pivotal record.
Yeah,
That
but
would
it's
be
the
like saying
gateway.
your favorite food was McDonald's.
Yeah, but at the
Oh,
same
sorry, I
like
can't say that.
it's all right. What I was going to say is like I was going to say it earlier, but one of my kids came up with this great little saying. I don't know if they came up with it, but they said it to me the other day. Don't yuck other people's yums.
Yeah,
You know,
fair enough.
like after
That's
all
really
we've
cool,
said,
and that's
after all you've
totally
said,
true. Yeah.
but like Hybrid Theory, 20, what was it, 24 years ago, or 25 years ago now, I think this year. And you got to think of the kids that were teenagers
Yeah,
back then,
it's huge.
because
It's
obviously we
huge.
were teenagers, mid 90s. I'm
Yeah.
assuming
I
Duncan,
remember that Linkin Park. I got that Linkin Park demo on Napster.
Yeah.
Downloaded it, and it was that one, Shut Up When I'm Talking to You.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, these guys are really cooking with gas. This is brilliant. And I think that expression from your kid is absolutely right. Is like it's actually the Nox Pulso philosophy,
Oh, is it?
which is if it's not for you, then that's okay.
Yeah.
But you know, move on, son.
Yeah,
Move on.
go on to the next one.
That's fine. And it's music at the end of the day. It's not something that you need to be like, no, this is maths and you're wrong. This is brain surgery and you're wrong. And someone's going to die if you fuck this up. It's like, do I like this or not? And if I don't like this, if you're at a restaurant and your partner orders like tofu tikka and you don't like tofu tikka, you don't go, oh, that looks disgusting and ruin the whole night. You just let them eat their fucking food.
Yeah.
And why would it
And
be
judge
any
them
different?
silently.
Yeah, well,
T-bone. Oh
Yeah.
yes.
why would
Unbelievable.
it be any different with music or art or any creative expression? My beef with it isn't when people don't like it or when I do have a beef with when people judge other people's judgments because I think it's bullying. My beef with it is when people, my tofu with it for vegan listeners, is when people are like, I deserve a right to pass judgment on what you've created.
Mm.
You don't deserve a right to pass judgment on anything that I've created, or whether I choose to have the tofu tikka or the chicken tikka or anything else. And if we all did that a little bit more, we could be more rock and roll and have fun and be a little bit less fucking judgmental about what's going on.
Yeah.
Now, record number one, Matthew.
It's such a beautiful segue. It's
I know.
seamless.
It's like you've done this before.
Just,
The
just,
radio,
yeah. Amazing.
which we'll talk
Amazing.
about in a bit, actually, because you got my old time slot.
Oh,
Did
really?
I?
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't know that. I did not know that.
yeah. It used to be Sunday evening. My
That's
Okay, well,
weird.
while Matthew does his choice, I'm going to the loo and I'll be
okay.
back in here.
Are you wearing trousers? Good.
For
Anyway,
now, but not when I go in the loo.
yeah.
Oh, I think I'd go for like probably pitch shifter industrial because
Nice.
not industrial, sorry, pitch shifter submit the little EP
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
because that was just like the first CD I bought
yeah.
and it was just amazing.
I had
And
that
mate,
on vinyl to be that wanker.
yeah, fantastic, dude.
Original pressing as well. That
That's really cool.
extra wankery.
No, yeah,
Even got the
that's
merch sheet in it and everything from here, right?
that's impressive. That's
Go on, go
impressive.
on, go
Jealous of that.
on.
Um, and the last one, I think I'd probably go for like maybe Panacea, Low Profile Darkness,
Nice.
just because like once again, just for in terms of being able to like um it just felt so free that guy's that album was just
Yeah,
like what he was doing and how he was making it and chopping things up and how heavy it was.
yeah,
Yeah, incredible.
yeah. Harks back
But
to obviously digital hardcore stuff we were talking about earlier.
yeah,
It's that era, and I've got some of his stuff on vinyl. Uh,
sick, sick.
to be that extra wanker, all three of those things you mentioned, I have on vinyl.
I'm very jealous.
Which is amazing. And you know, it sounds different, man. But yeah, no, I mean, fantastic albums. I mean, Jilted, like I said, was one of mine. It's like it is that kind of like early crossover of that kind of like I'd say big room rave, big room dance, whatever,
Yeah,
and with the element of guitars and a little bit of punk, like they kind of coined that electronic punk
yeah, it's
moniker at that
amazing.
point. Obviously, from Experience, which was just like pure rave, going to that, it was kind of like this is where they're going. It's kind of like listening to the Beastie Boys when they were like a hardcore band,
Mm,
punk band, and then they kind of found their rap sort of thing, and they kind of went into that, and that's when they became
incredible.
like huge. Um, and then obviously going from Jilted into Fat of the Land, which again, monumental album. I mean, that blew them up everywhere anyway, but that really kind of cemented that kind of like real like dance and rock music
No, absolutely.
crossover.
Yeah, it's huge.
I mean, I've had again drop a name, Jim Davis on the show.
Of course, yeah.
His musical outputs that he puts out now, because he's who's he now? He's guitarist for Pig,
Yeah.
like live guitarist for Pig now. He's going to be doing their next tour. But yeah, no, I mean his work on that and Pitch Shifter as well. It's great.
He's a dude.
And yeah, no, fantastic albums and records. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Duncan, now you've gone to the bathroom. Have you had time to think of your three?
Well, yeah, I've had time to think of five, and I'm just trying to sort of dial it down to three.
Okay.
And what I missed, Barney, was what your three were. I got Matt had Jilted Generation,
Yes.
Panacea. What
Submit
was the third?
and
Submit.
submit.
Okay. So what were your three, Barney?
So my three pivotals were Jill to Generation, same as Matt's. In that
Okay.
respect. For the sort of like rock and metal, my sort of gateway was Motorhead, Ace of Spades, specifically from the young ones.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
when
I
I was
didn't know that.
younger, seeing that, like that's
Yeah, that's a moment, right?
yeah,
When they
Oh, mate, it's
smash
so
through
good.
the
and that's like a
yeah,
moment that I've gone back to over and over, and that was my sort of like birth of me loving heavy guitar music, um,
yeah,
or rock music in general, like going from there and
yeah, yeah,
finding that, and
yeah.
then Appetite for Destruction was the sort of gateway album,
Oh,
which
Mm.
is a big one for everyone.
yeah.
It's not my I mean it is a 10 out of 10 album, but it's not my favorite Guns N' Roses album. But
Oh,
it's
what's your favorite Guns N' Roses
I
album?
really like Use Your Illusion too. I don't know why I've gone
Why
through them.
two? It's got
I
pretty
don't
tied
know.
up, and
Yeah, pretty
because
tied up.
that's
You could be
blue one, so
mine.
pretty tied up. You could be
Uh,
mine. Yeah, yeah. Okay, you could be mine is
but
probably the
I don't
edge.
know. I just really like, yeah, I just really like the flow of that album. Like I say, I mean, Appetite is 10 out of 10. There's no skippable tracks on it.
Yeah.
That double album release, I thought was like it was good. I like Use Your Illusion 1 with like November Rain and everything on it. It was kind of a bit more epic. But I don't know. It's just something about that second one. It's I know it's an odd choice, but it's at least it's not Chinese democracy.
I don't know.
It's unlikely to be that.
I I remember buying Use Illusion 2 on CD. I don't think I had enough money to buy both, so I bought the blue one. I don't know why. It just spoke to me a bit more. And of course, back then, 30 years ago, listeners, you if you buy a record, you spend a lot of time with that record. You romance that record and you really get to know its finer details. Uh, in a way that I suspect most listeners don't nowadays. I know I don't now. I hear a new record and it's cool, and I don't really get to know every crevice of the record, but I know every crevice of User Illusion too. Even to the point of the sticker that wasn't the normal parental advisory sticker on the front, but it was a warning that this thing might contain bad language, which I suspect this podcast might need now, Barney,
Definitely will.
in
Have to
order
mark it.
to
So.
uh, have a little E
Yes,
on your uh, uh,
definitely.
Spotify moment. Or you could mute me, which would also be equally quite funny.
It
Actually,
could be
pretty
quite funny.
perfect.
I'm on board.
It would be brilliant.
You got those
It'd be
sound effects
absolutely
over there,
brilliant.
Barney?
He had his hand over the microphone all the time.
So can you remind me what the word was? You said it wasn't pivotal. It was
It
what
Oh,
was
was
it is
it?
pivotal.
it
It
is
is pivotal.
It
pivotal.
was
Yeah.
So
pivotal.
it's like
Pivotal. Pivotal.
it's not your favorite albums unless it is your favorite album. But it's kind of like I want to get away from like there was a lot of like people sort of doing top five albums of all time and all that kind of stuff. And it was like I
Yeah.
want to find out like it's basically more about finding out your musical journey. So
Sure.
when you were young,
Yeah. I
like
mean,
I heard, like I say, Motorhead on the young ones of all the shows. Like they got like Shawaddy Waddy and everything on that show as well. So why not Shawaddy Waddy? But it's funny to
I
say,
guarantee
but
all three of us watched that Young Ones
Yeah.
episode and saw that and all kind of went like,
yeah,
Wow.
I guarantee it. I know I did, and
yeah,
I
Yeah.
think you're saying you did. So
Yeah.
I won't go with that one, but um I've got a short list, and like, the temptation is to go, oh, well, we'll name the bands that we think we sound like, so that your listeners will then go, oh, that's cool. They like Ministry Psalm 69, so we'll go
So
and
that's choice
listen
number one, Doug.
to that.
yeah.
That is not choice number one,
Oh,
Matthew.
it
I'm not
is.
finished.
It's your first answer.
It's
We'll
gonna
take
be
your first answer.
it's gonna be Rush or Primus, isn't it?
Um, no, it's worse. I think
Oh wow.
I genuinely think that my most it's a bit embarrassing actually.
Go on.
I have this distinct memory of
It's not the
being,
glitter band, is it?
it's not quite as bad as that, but it isn't far off.
Ah,
I have this distinct memory of being 10 or 11 years old and seeing Top of the Pops and seeing Def Leppard
ah,
play something from Hysteria
mm.
or from an earlier record. And I think it might be from an earlier record, if I'm completely honest, but I can't remember the song. I remember the poodles and the mullets
Yeah.
and the white Les Paul, and I remember going to bed that night and thinking, I have to be a rock star.
Nice.
I have to
Yeah, that's
be
cool.
that thing that I just saw then. That there's there's no other option.
Yeah.
It's completely impossible for there to be any other option. And I saw it in my dreams and in my sleep, and I begged my mum, please, can I have an electric guitar? And she was like, no, you have to learn acoustic guitar first. So I went to
What's
an
that?
acoustic guitar lesson and had an acoustic guitar. I begged and I begged and I begged. And then on my 12th or 13th birthday, she went to Guitar Village in Farnham with me and picked out uh, a red Stratocaster copy of a guitar. And I should say for the listeners, this is an electric guitar rather than an acoustic guitar. And then drove home, and I got home, and it came with like a little amp. So it was an electric guitar, an amp package, and I finally achieved my dream of seeing these guys with these mullet sort of perm things and these big laser light shows and stuff. I was like, now things can happen. And they hadn't sold us a lead,
Hey.
Oh,
so I couldn't
ah,
put the guitar in to the lead. And my mum, bless her, this is about
set fire to the
5:30
place.
p.m. Yeah, yo, she told me to go fuck myself. So
That's where it
my
came
mum,
from,
bless
ladies
her,
and gentlemen. Good night.
at that moment, shops in the UK, including Guitar Village in Farnham, shut down at that time. There's no arguing about it. They just closed their doors at 5:30 or 6. I can't remember. Is it 5:30 or
It used
6?
to be 5:30.
So that's that.
Yeah.
So she phones them up, and the dude from Guitar Village, who I later found out was the owner of Guitar Village,
Yep.
um, says, "Yeah, look, we're closed." And she sort of says, "Oh, I've just bought my kid a guitar and a little baby amp. Um, we were in there for a little bit while he was pissing around on them, and I was in there for a little bit pissing around on them, and sort of tried to play some stuff, and he couldn't really play anything. And the guy was like, 'Yeah, you were just playing noise. Here you go. I'll show you like 0101 on the fretboard.'"
Yeah.
Um, and the boss of Guitar Village goes, "You know what? Come back. I'll get you a lead." So my mum and me drive back after the shop is closed, and he's stayed around. He's kept the thing open. He gave her the lead. She tried to pay him, and he went, "Oh no, look, it's my mistake. I should have sold you the lead in the first place. You can have this lead on me."
Mm.
And I thought at that moment, like, that's gentlemanly, polite, well-behaved behavior.
Yeah.
He could have sold it to her for 6.99 or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
but he didn't. He just said he said, "This is my fuck up. The kid needs this lead to plug the two things in. Off you go." Um, so Def Leppard Hysteria is my answer.
Okay.
Um,
Nice.
but for all of those reasons, and if anybody thinks that Def Leppard aren't a sweet band, that's on them, because they're pretty good
If
actually.
you read the stories, they are possibly one of the most rock and roll bands of all time.
Yeah.
I
Um,
I,
like
I
some
think
of
they're
the
great.
like reputations they have, some of the things they had going on under the stage beneath them while they were playing, in full view of them, but not the audience,
I can believe it.
and things like that. I've been privy to some fun stories of Def Leppard over the years,
I'm sure.
some
I,
of which are probably just old wives' tales of their old wives, um, of which there are probably a few.
Yeah.
But yeah,
there's
no,
more.
I've heard, I mean, as much as their sort of like general look and like, the mullet, the sort of like, the sort of
I
raunchy
think
rock
it might
song,
be called Poodle Rock. Is it called Poodle Rock,
something
Glam Rock, or something?
yacht rock.
Um, so not very credible anyway. Like, like my street creds goes way, way down from where it already was, which was
Yeah, I
shockingly
was
bad,
gonna say, it's like
in
you've hit a new
into
level.
oh yeah, that dude from Nox Pulso said Def Leppard Hysteria is the most pivotal record. But I
That you're off
honestly
resistance.
feel like it changed my life.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
the kind of thing I'm after. Like, you don't listen to really like Hysteria is not one of your top albums.
it
Like,
it isn't. Although if
it's
Animal came on the radio,
yeah,
I'd turn it up.
that's the thing. Like they've got tracks that you would acknowledge, and like,
And
I'm not a massive like Twisted Sister fan, but there's a couple of tracks that I will crank
yeah,
if it
like
comes on the radio.
7 years ago, I got tickets to go and see Def Leppard, and I went to see them, and it was incredible. Like the laser show, the light show, the whole sound, the whole performance. It was impeccable in a way that, when we were talking earlier about how people shitting on pop music because it's popular are like bullies.
Hmm.
Um, I think they call it gatekeeping on Reddit.
Gatekeeping. Yeah, yeah, that's the
Um,
word that is used for people that are
Keep
close.
Gates.
Yeah,
they
who like to keep gates, collect gates,
That's it. Yeah.
vintage gates, retro like
if
design,
you
Art Deco. Um,
you've got like a Def Leppard delivering an amazing show,
yeah,
fine, that's justifiable. But then if I said to you, Robbie Williams is delivering an amazing show, is that justifiable? And in my view, ever since I was a teenager, sort of exposed to music and the poodle haircut and going, I have to be a rock star. There's no other possible choice. Um, I always thought Robbie Williams was fucking cool because he's delivering everything that it needs to deliver. He's delivering entertainment. He's delivering it all perfectly. And I don't get why people think music, even if it's sad music, why does it have to be a miserable experience? Like Radiohead makes sad music, but it's not a miserable experience. If Robbie Williams is there delivering an amazing, entertaining moment, even if his words don't speak to me because I'm doing quantum storytelling with Matt, and that's what we do,
yeah,
spoiler alert. But if we're doing that, um, why should it be miserable? It should be fun. It should be entertaining. This should be something you want to do, you seek out, you enjoy. You, like, I'm not raping your ears. I'm gently
Well,
sliding into them,
orally.
into your willing ears,
I was gonna
and
say it has to be consensual. You can't
it's
Yeah.
you can't just go into people's
consensual
ears.
You're not in
and
Def Leppard.
entertaining and fun. And there's a simple solution if you don't find it consensual and entertaining and fun, and we already know what that is.
Yes.
But just like I don't like Marvel Universe cinema, I like David Lynch. Why should music somehow be subjected to these different rules? It makes no sense to me, and I'm almost pained to sort of say I'm embarrassed to tell you that it's Def Leppard.
Right.
You've
Well,
told us now.
I've told you now, and
Cat's out of the bag.
Yeah.
This
that's
isn't
one.
live, is it, Barney?
It could be. I can hit that,
Ah,
hit that Twitch
And
live button. Uh,
now number two, pivotal,
yeah.
seeing as you ask. Uh,
I do ask. I do ask.
I know it's tricky. I really want to say this record by White Zombie. But the thing is, Barney, I can't remember its name.
Okay.
let's
Uh,
go.
Astro Creep 2000, Songs of Love, Destruction, and Other Synthetic Delusions of the Electric Head.
There you
You're
go.
partly right. I was partly right.
I was wholly wrong.
You were totally wrong, Matt. But that is the album title, and it was released in 1995. Ladies and gentlemen, that album
Hey,
this
I'm a
year
30-year-old.
is 30 fucking years old.
oh God.
If I have to suffer, you have to suffer.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to tell you why I think
Yes.
this is pivotal for me.
Yep.
So
Go.
we've had my humiliating pivotal poodle rock moment. 1995, 1996. I think I would have probably been 16, and I worked in a department store called Elfix in Farnham on a Saturday, and I got £25 for my day's work. And
It's not bad.
there was a rock club
Okay.
nearby, called, actually, I'm not going to name them. They can go fuck themselves. Yeah. Uh, there was a rock club nearby, and I remember taking my £25 and going into this rock club. I don't think I should have actually been allowed into this rock club. I think
It's the one I'm thinking of. None of us should have
what the wokarati. No,
been.
I like
Let's not go
wokarati.
down that route.
I
They
don't
would
think
have
I'd
described
mind.
me as underage, and indeed I was. So uh, I go in and I'm underage, but I've got my £21 now because it was £4 to get in, which is quite a lot of beer. And the first thing I
Still
hear
that price to get in, by the way.
is it
Is
still
it
four
really?
pounds?
Roughly £4 or £5, I
Fucking
think.
Fantastic.
overpriced, man.
Fantastic.
Um, they should be paying me to go in there. Right, and then I go in.
Why he has such a hard time with promoters. So suddenly that mystery's solved.
Uh-huh.
No one ever said I was easy to work with,
No,
man.
no.
This is
That is
very
not a
true, Matt.
thing that's been said.
Both me and you know now. Sorry, go
So,
on. White Zombie, come on.
all right, so I walk in,
Yep.
and the first thing I hear is Electric Head Part 1 blaring out of this into my 16-year-old brain. This massive black cave with lights and these gorgeous goth rock and roll girls headbanging on the corner, and I look around it and I'm like, oh my God, I am an insect.
That
And
didn't go the way I thought it was going to
uh,
go.
I just thought like, holy shit, what do I do here? What did you think it was gonna go? Oh, I went off and fucked them all. That was the next week. Um,
It's the dark art.
cut that, buddy. Cut that. Cut that. Don't cut it. Leave it in. It's fine.
I was going to say, I've got to make a note of the timestamp.
Ran out of paper over there.
Yeah.
Uh, I felt like an insect. Like, when Google Earth zooms out and shows you the world and shows you how sort of small you are. And this rock club made me just feel like, oh God, look at them. They're so cool. They're so attractive. They're so everything I want to be, and I'm just nowhere near any of that. And this massive thing is blasting out of the sound system in a way that I'd never heard before. I don't think I'd been to a nightclub before. I think maybe I've been to a disco house sort of nightclub uh, once or twice, but I'd never been to a rock and roll nightclub where the floor was sticky, the people were hot and way cooler than me. That isn't the thrust of it. Like, I didn't want to be them. I wanted to be with them.
Be with them. Okay.
Yeah.
And White Zombie was your gateway to them.
And White Zombie was my gateway to be. I have no problem with anybody wanting to dress however they want, and just let's not get that twisted. I'm pretty liberal as far as that sort
No,
of side of
I've,
things.
I've got photos of us dressed up as various things.
Yeah, I think I've been
I've
on
not made them
stage
online, but
in
there's a
drag.
special book that I have.
I got it's absolutely fine. Be who you want to be, and
Oh,
that's
yeah.
cool. But
Yes.
I didn't want to be them. I wanted to be with them,
Okay.
and I wasn't cool enough, and I wasn't cool enough for the whole place. It just intimidated me so much because I felt like, oh, these must be my people, and shit. Now they're all like really scary, really scary. Like uh, if you're into hot goth girls, a hot goth girl is a really scary thing.
Who
Uh,
isn't?
well, some people aren't, but they are fools.
Hmm.
Because
They don't know what they're missing.
um, so yeah, it was like a terrifying moment. I just couldn't understand. And then what happened next was I went home and I wanted to know what that song was. So instead of sort of going home and going, why am I like, I knew why I was afraid of it. I was afraid of it because I was like, well, how am I gonna integrate with my people um when I'm afraid of them? Um, but what stuck with me was that song. And so I went home and I went to our price
Oh, price.
Oh,
Arnold.
on that
Christ.
on that high street. And I was like,
Yep.
looked up the records, and it was 14 quid, which is quite a lot of money to sort of, I didn't have 14 quid. So I saved up for a couple of weeks and then bought it. And I remember at the time I was saying to a friend of ours, oh, I really want to get that White Zombie record, man. Um, and he was like, why? Why do you want that? And it just spoke to me. So I realize now that it was a Pavlovian experience where I heard it. I saw these people who were too cool for school. I saw myself as I was and as I am, which is this like nerdy sort of dude that couldn't um integrate with it. And then I heard this sound like the Pavlovian bell.
Yeah.
It was like, well, there's the bell. At least you can go and get that. And
It's a
then I went
killer
to
album.
the record,
Yeah.
and the record's fucking, it's not great. It's good. It's like 3 out of 10 songs are great,
I
two
don't
are
know.
average, three are shit. And later on, you find, you watch Rob Zombie's stuff. Oh God, I'm talking myself out of every possible support slot. Rob Zombie, if you're watching this, you can go fuck yourself. When Rob Zombie sort of runs around on stage and he can't deliver the lines because he's too busy flouncing around, it makes you think, well, maybe they're a human. Def Leppard wouldn't have done that. They'd have got it right. They'd have got it right first time. So that's number two.
That is number two. But yeah, no, I mean that album is fantastic in that respect. Like, there's some, I mean, it's got like some iconic songs on it, especially from a rock club point of view. Like, as a rock club DJ, like, putting like either Electric Head on or More Human Than Human, and playing those songs just really, like, as a recorded piece of music going out on those PAs is brilliant. It sounds amazing. As does Rob Zombie's like future stuff as well. Obviously out of White Zombie, and I still play tracks from whatever the fucking albums are called, but up until I think,
That good, eh, Barney?
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I know the track names, motherfucker. Um, um, but yeah, just going, like, I mean, I still play Dragula, for instance, and stuff like that, and that's sort of early on Rob Zombie. But it's gotten to a point now where people do the fucking Macarena to that song because it's got the same fucking BPM and the same rhythm to it.
Right.
But like you say, live, no, stage show, amazing. Like when he's got his full stage show up and everything, it's like a bit like Alice Cooper. It's like amazing. The thing is with
Funnily
Alice
enough,
Cooper, he can pull it off without the stage show.
what we should be doing if we were in any sense professional is saying, oh, it's Ministry Psalm 69. Oh, it's music for the jilted generation, which I think Matt's already called.
Yeah, we've already
It's
done
and I'm gonna say Bloody Kisses by Typo Negative.
that. Oh, nice.
Yes.
And it's pivotal to me. I was 15 and I was in the Typo Negative fan club, which in those days meant that you would get early access to tickets or even shows that you just couldn't ordinarily get to. I went to a Typo Negative fan club only show at the London Astoria, 1990 Christmas 1995, 1996. I can't totally remember the year,
Yeah.
but it's around about that time. But Typo Negative were incredible. So if you sort of imagine that 10-year-old that was enamored with Def Leppard and then afraid of White Zombie in a nightclub and then going to see live music at the London Astoria, I was in the front row. I was right in front of Peter Steele, and
Wow.
he
I'm
stood to
I'm
the left
insanely jealous. I'm
of
insanely
the
jealous.
uh, man. I got more. Um, he stood to is it stage left if they're
Yeah.
on the left?
Uh, no, stage
But
right.
no,
He's on the
so
left.
he stood to stage right, and I'm left as a viewer, and he was here, like 2 meters away from me, looking up at this gigantic man, and if the nightclub with the hot goth girls hadn't made me feel insecure enough, then this is gonna this is gonna triple that. Except it didn't. It didn't make me feel insecure or terrified. It made me feel entertained and loved. And the way that he talked to the audience, he talked to me. Of course, he's talking to the whole audience, but he was talking to me in my retarded teenage mind, and I then felt more affirmed that this is something that's really powerful and important. Um, and he gave me his green guitar pick after that, and I also it was before October Rust had released or about when Roadrunner were going to release October Rust. So his microphone stand had all of these sort of leaves and things entwined around them. And I just grabbed a little leaf off it, took it home, and I put it in my book where I had my gig tickets. And then I had this green pick from Peter Steele with this leaf from this thing from a record I don't think I'd actually heard yet. Obviously, I knew like Christian Woman and
Black
but
Number One was on that as well, wasn't
Black Number One, but Girlfriend's Girlfriend and the whatever happened next wasn't quite a thing. So you can imagine how like damaging that would be for a teenage brain to experience that and then to go like, well, what else can I do now? So I guess this is a story of like, if only I'd zigged when I zagged once, twice, 3 times a lady, and I did it 3 times in a row, and then I'm fucked. Like, what else am I going to do now? So I had no choice at that point. So that's why that one's a but all pivotal. Whether any of them have actually done me any favors in life, I would honestly question that
Yeah.
and say like, well, yeah, I've got a degree in law, Barney.
Yeah.
I'm a disappointment to my parents. I should be a lawyer. Um, so wh
Sorry.
whether any of these moments have helped my life or not, I really couldn't say.
Well, it's the thing. It's put you where you are now. Like whether you're happy or not, I can't answer that on your behalf.
I am actually. So that's one thing about all of
So,
that is that
like
I'm
that's the
happy
thing.
now and I enjoy my life.
Yeah, and you have to go through stuff to get to that point. But yes, no, the journey, like very succinct, very like, and you pick those moments and like you saw that Def Leppard. Heard that Def Leppard song. Saw them on Top of the Pops. Again, Top of the Pops is a brilliant gateway for a lot of people as well. Um, are you plan? Actually, I forgot. Are you planning on releasing anything physical? Because I like a good physical product.
Yeah, it's a good question, Matthew.
Yeah, now he wants to chuck it over my way. Um, we're not ruling anything out. I think it's probably the fairest way to put it. So it'd be great, but it's definitely something we've discussed for sure. Um, I really like the idea of VHS tapes. I'm kind of into that.
Yeah.
We're sort of beginning to piece together something which may go on that, but yeah, not ruling anything out, but nothing planned as of yet. I
Okay.
think it's probably the fairest way to put it.
Nice.
I got a pro. You would not believe, Barney, the amount of spam we get in our inbox of like, "Hey, have you thought about blah, blah, blah? Hey, have you blah, 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 blah?" Like, if you're watching this and you're spamming us, go fuck yourself. But there is a part of me that is really drawn to the idea of a CD.
Hmm.
I know you like vinyl, and there is also a vinyl on pressing demand company has approached us, and it's just a question of whether we can make it work. Like this, we don't need to make money,
Yeah, but you don't want
but
to fix it.
we can't sink thousands of pounds into pressing a thing for 10, 20, 100 people to buy it. It 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 basically breaks even at the point where it nearly sells out.
Yes.
That's and it's really painful to see that because I think we're all from a generation of physical product of like that moment where you seek out a CD, where you go to your local record store. I I nearly gave you a different record earlier, which would have been Strapping Young Lad City,
Hmm.
that I went to our price in Farnham and I had to pay a deposit in order for it to turn up.
Yeah.
And it would only turn up when the distributor had 100 other CDs to send.
Yes.
It took 14 months. I was so gutted. I'd spent this time and money and effort. I thought, I'm going to go again. Just listen to it again. Listen to it two, three
Yeah.
times. By the time I listened to it like 5 or 6 times, because I had no alternative, I didn't have a Spotify. I couldn't go, well, fuck this shit. I'll just listen to something
Yeah.
else. It's like, now I love her. Like it was like seeing the girl at the party and you look at her and you look at her and the first time she hits on you, you kind of ignore her. And then later on you're like, yeah, actually, yeah, it's not such a bad idea. And then later on, or the boy, whatever you like. And later on you're like, wow, she's the most amazing thing, the most amazing thing. And that CD was like that for me because of that struggle
Yeah.
of how do you fucking find this stuff? This is an old man shouting at clouds.
Yeah.
Oh, now you just go on Spotify and you get it and it's fine. And you don't know the struggle. I love that you don't know the struggle. I think it's amazing that you don't know the struggle. Why should you know the struggle to be entertained?
Yeah. It's
Um,
it's definitely like it's a thing for the sort of like I say it's an old man thing. We're kind of getting there. Matt, what are your hobbies away from Knox? What
That's a great,
what
great
are your
question.
I know you got a dog. I saw it
Yeah,
pop up
yeah,
behind you.
he's adorable. Yeah,
Yeah.
he takes a lot of time.
I love my dogs. I got a
They're
pair.
the best. They're the absolute
Absolutely
best.
amazing.
But yeah, I think like riding motorbikes is a big thing. So when the summer comes around, I'll be buggered if I'm doing it in the cold, and especially at the moment, it's balls to
Yeah.
that. But yeah, it's like we Duncan and I did a ride years and years and years ago, and it was like one of those. I mean, like that stays in my head as one of the coolest things. Yeah, not coolest thing, but just like I just adored it.
Yeah.
Felt like really doing what I wanted to do. Yeah, motorcycles a big part, and also arcade games. Like hanging out with you, going to arcades. I think about that place a lot, and I haven't been able to let that go. Uh,
We never do.
no, I can't let arcades go. So
I
yeah, like arcades, pinball,
yeah.
and motorcycles. That would do.
Yeah, that'll work. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, video games. I mean, that's how
Oh,
we.
video
I think
games.
that's
Yeah,
how
yeah.
we kind of introduced each other to each other.
Yeah, yeah,
I remember
yeah.
it was Mortal Kombat
Mortal
in
Kombat.
art class at Wade School. I remember that. My brain isn't dead.
That's good.
But that's that, like, that sort of era of gaming. Obviously, arcades, going to Aldershot Arcade when it was an arcade.
That's amazing.
Spending so much money at the Trocadero,
Oh my God,
playing
yeah.
like Killer Instinct, Die Hard Arcade, Daytona, all that lot. And yeah, just sort of like, I mean, that for me, gaming is massive for me. Like, I'm going to this thing on Friday, which is like local sort of gaming hub thing, but it's basically it's called Guildford Games
Okay, cool.
Festival. I had one of the directors on the show recently, or recently, it was last year, but there it's like the hub of all the gaming developers in Guildford.
There's a lot.
It's like a convention for them.
Dude, there's a lot of them there.
Uh,
Jesus.
Peter Molyneux's going to be there on
Wow,
Friday.
yeah.
And it's free to go as well. This is a great thing. It's free entry. But Peter Molyneux, obviously, iconic in the gaming side of things.
Yeah, bullfrog.
But I went to last year's one, and they had like Julie Weir was there. You know who Julie Weir is, Duncan.
I
Um,
know who Julie Weir is, Barnaby. Yes.
do. And she was there, and she was talking about, like, obviously the music industry.
Julie, if you're reading this or watching this, why don't you could reach out? We could do a deal.
Yep. She's now part of Sony Music, as far as I'm
She's
aware.
at MFN, isn't she?
Yep.
I do remember, Barney, her saying, if you ever need anything,
Yeah.
you can call me. So, Julie, I need something now. I've got a record. I need you to call me.
I will if she's there again, I'll let her know. But no, I mean, that
He's
was great.
still there.
Yeah, I mean, I got to speak to her afterwards as well, and like talk to her about like Subverse and everything that we did back then.
Yeah, she's brilliant. She's an awesome person. And yeah, funnily enough, when I started DJing for Total Work, Matt Mason messaged me and was like, "Oh, do you remember playing this gig for Julie Weir?" I said, "Yeah, I do remember that gig
Yeah,
actually. I think it was like Skin Dread.
it was us, Sugar Coma, Skin Dread, and First Signs of no, no, it wasn't First Signs of Frost.
It doesn't matter what their name is.
They were opening. They ended up being signed by Visible Noise, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
Wait, look, Julie, if you're listening to this, you can now correct that mistake by signing Nox Pulso to Music for Nations, which would be a very good move because if you don't, then somebody else is about to, and it would be tricky for you.
Yes.
Although I would much rather be signed by Julie Weir, because I think she is an absolute iconic ass kicker of the music world. So,
The great
Julie,
thing is she's still like wanting to learn about the industry. This was the thing I got from her. Like, she
yeah,
wasn't stuck in
I
that
think,
old way.
yeah, she's not one of those old fucking dinosaurs. You know, she's like kicking ass, getting stuff done, trying to make experiments, trying to try new things.
Yeah.
You know, an ideal band for somebody like Julie Weir to sign would be Nox Pulso. Just saying.
Oh, you got to meet them halfway. You got to send them a demo. Um,
I refuse, buddy. If it's that hard, I'm out.
Unbelievable. But I can't even remember what I was saying now. Yeah, gaming. But yeah, no, it's like, and like getting back in touch with that side of it. Like, these are like independent gaming houses. It's like, and like some of them are major ones. So EA are obviously in that area, but you've
Yeah,
got
no,
2 Point, you've got Supermassive Games, you've got Dreams, which a former bandmate of mine, Duncan's, works for.
oh, cool.
Give up Ryan. He's
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, send him my regards.
oh,
How's he doing?
he's doing all right. I went, but yeah, no, it was like keeping my foot in that gaming area because like arcades are, well, really non-existent anymore to go to.
True.
There's a few around the country, a couple of old seaside towns if you can find them, but a lot of them are just one-arm bandits everywhere. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of a bit sad. But gaming is huge. Like, I mean, I know you've got arcade machines. I know you've got a bunch of machines and stuff like that you obviously lovingly keep and maintain.
Yeah, well, they're out in the cold at the moment, but
Yeah.
seriously, I just can't let that go. They're awesome.
No, that's the thing, and I still rock up my Xbox and
Yeah.
stuff, and I tend to play classic games on it. Like, some of the new games I do play, yes, but I tend to go back to like a bunch of shoot 'em ups and like classic beat 'em ups and stuff like that because it's I enjoy playing. And
Quite right too.
exactly. I'm an old man, but a good one, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, Duncan, we were talking about hobbies. Did we
Oh
get to
yeah,
that?
my hobbies. Oh yes.
Did we?
What are my hobbies?
You asked me what mine were. You deflected.
I did actually do that. Listeners at home. Yeah. And he's on to me.
Yeah, I am now. So what's your hobby, motherfucker?
Ooh. So my hobby for about 12 years, it's been Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Um, what can I say? I really like strangling people.
Hmm?
Um,
There's a few of you out there, to be fair, especially musicians.
Mm.
yeah, I think there's a sort of I don't think I'm autistic. I think people bandy the word autism around a lot. I'm detail focused, Barney. And so I like this idea. Of course, I hate bullies, so I like the idea that a weak person could overcome a strong one. So I do this jiu-jitsu thing, and I would say that is my sole hobby, apart from playing guitar.
Yeah,
But Nox Pulso is a hobby.
yeah,
It's not a job. I know you talk to the Browning and big bands and Kill Switch Engage and Max Cavalera, and that's their job.
yes,
But Nox Pulso as a band is my hobby, you
yeah.
know.
Okay,
So I like to strangle people and I like to scream about it afterwards.
nice.
Um,
Healthy.
I don't know if it's healthy. I honestly don't know if it's healthy.
Fair enough.
Um, I wouldn't. I'm not. Uh, I wouldn't say to Eli. Did you say?
Yes.
I wouldn't say to Eli. This person's a blueprint for a human.
Hmm.
More like this person's a blueprint for a fuck up.
Okay.
Um, and then how do you fix that?
Yeah.
Like, don't do everything opposite that he does, but do most things opposite,
Yes.
and you'd probably be all right.
Yeah.
Um, you've watched it over this interview, over this podcast. Like routinely, I have sabotaged the podcast. At moments, I've said this stupid callback over and over and over again. Periodically, when you've asked me a question, I've instead asked you about yourself.
Yes.
It's complete sabotage. That is not a person to be like. So, yeah, my hobbies at the moment are limited to, or expanded to, because I didn't have the opportunity to do Nox Pulso until Matt tricked me into doing it.
Yeah.
You know, to come right back to the beginning of the show of where did this come from? I wasn't calling anybody going like, I want to make some music. Go fuck yourself. Literally, I'm not interested in making music because you know how difficult it is and how nasty people can be and how sour it can get with people that you love. You know, if you've grown up with someone for 20 years, you love that person. You don't want to be in a situation where you're now going to be divorced from them,
Yeah.
as well as all of the other people that you've fucked off in your life because of your toxic personality. That's your words, not mine. Now,
What?
um,
When did I say that? I was about to empathize with you, Duncan, but now
I know.
What's the phrase?
on three, everyone. No.
Note, line,
I.
line. So sometimes when it comes to like this this music thing, I think it's it's just really difficult to keep your friends. I've personally seen it shoot myself or my friends in the foot. And one of the things about doing Nox Pulso with Matt was I was like, I really, really don't want to shoot this friendship in the foot. I really don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Um, so it's a massive, to me, it's a massive risk. Um, that I think, as it turned out, was unfounded because we speak to each other and we respect each other and we're like grown-ups. Unlike every single other motherfucker I've ever been in a band with,
Yeah.
yourself excluded. Because I think we did actually do that the same, Barney. Um, you had that moment where it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you're in the barn and you're just trying to sort of get through it.
Yes.
And you don't go like, well, I need more credits on this record.
Yeah.
Um, what was the question?
It was. I don't know, man. You went somewhere, but no, I totally get it. Like, you can like, especially when you watch things fall apart or be part of something like that. I mean, I'm gonna liken the Zero Cipher experience. So when that fell apart, that was like a divorce. That was like a big breakup. That was like, there was no sort of intent or malice really between us. Obviously, there was tensions. There was things like that going on because there were things going on in all of our lives, and it just sort of came to that head. But afterwards, like there was this moment of like, what the fuck? Like when you break up with someone after so many years, it's like, what the fuck am I going to do now? What, what did I do wrong? What was wrong with you? Go through that sort of self discovery almost, but also like, and I had a couple of people around me that were like, if you need to talk about it, because we know what's going on. I was quite fortunate in that respect of like someone who kind of understood a band breaking up, and how it is like, because at the time you don't think, oh, this is like a, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, whatever, because we spent a lot of nights together. We spent a lot of time. We spent more time together than we did with our own families. Um, you know, through thick, through thin, through cold nights in the barn. Sounds really Brokeback Mountain now. But we went through trenches.
Much worse,
Yeah,
listeners.
much worse. I just can't quit you, Duncan. Um, but just sort of going through that and trying to process it, it's difficult because you don't want to fuck up a friendship. You don't want to, like, because it is a friendship as well. But when it becomes, when it is, I don't know, when it becomes that
It,
not a hobby anymore, it
it,
becomes a job. That's
it,
when it changes. But then you've got to kind of have that mindset of, it's like when your girlfriend becomes, or your boyfriend becomes your married husband, married wife, married whatever. You make that commitment, and then
yeah, I mean, I agree, but it's so much more than a girlfriend boyfriend. It's closer to a marriage
yes,
or a civil partnership or whatever your listeners have, um, because you have to completely trust that person all the time, and sometimes when they fuck up, you have to be like, yeah, well, I'm on their side anyway, even though they fucked up.
mm,
That's go fuck yourselves.
yeah,
I'm on their side.
yeah,
Um, and it's really a testing moment of human interaction because you only really feel it when you look at them and they look at you and you have this moment. And I don't know how to sort of describe it. I have it with Matt.
mm,
I look at him and he looks at me and we have a moment. We have a sort of an unspoken communication, which is overly developed because we had a friendship before.
yeah,
But if you were going to sort of develop it being in a band scenario, it would take 3, 5 years, something like that, where you would develop that thing where you look at them, where the sound engineer fucks it up, and sorry, sound engineers, but you are shit, and you need to fucking sort your shit out
It's
and
another
stop
one.
being.
It had
Oh
nearly
yeah.
been like 20 minutes since we last upset someone.
And another
20.
thing. And if they fuck up one more time, they'll be off this tour. And you have this, it is a relation. I mean, of course, it's a relationship. We know what the word relationship means, but it's also romance to some extent, where you have to make compromises, and then you know from your own interpersonal relationships, and your listeners will for sure know if any of them aren't virgins. Are they, Barney?
I don't know. I don't get that demographic. I
Look
get
familiar, isn't
ages.
it?
I get maybe their gender, but that's it.
All right.
Whether they're
Well,
whether they're virgins or not, I don't know. Unless they are, even if oh, fuck knows, man. I'm not going to put that poll up for want of a better word.
as you wish. So, if any of them are experienced in human interaction that is a relationship, they know that it's about compromise. You can't have a successful marriage without compromise. Ask me how I know. Don't actually ask me. Fuck that. But if you want some, if you want to be with someone and you understand and you respect them and you treat them with, well, okay, I think their opinion matters. That's the place to start with your bandmates.
Yeah.
And it's really, 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 really difficult if you don't respect them and you don't understand them and you don't think that their opinion matters because they're not a viable partner. And I think that's probably what goes wrong a lot of times with great bands that almost could have been. And you know what the fuck I'm talking about here, Barney. Almost could have been when there isn't a respect. But it's impossible to respect someone you don't respect.
Yeah, you can't fake that kind of thing.
How do you do that? Like, I have no beef with sex workers.
Oh,
They do important work.
This is the next demographic we're going to offend now.
And however they do it, I wish them all the best.
Okay.
seems we're talking about them.
But if I'm Hugh Grant, I'm not going to marry Divine Brown.
No.
And so I can't be in a band with Divine Brown if I'm Hugh Grant because I don't respect her really. And also, at that point, I don't respect Elizabeth Hurley.
Okay.
So I'm
Another
unsuitable.
person.
I'm unsuitable band material if I'm Hugh Grant at that moment because I don't respect people enough to tolerate when it goes wrong and when it goes right, and why the push and the pull of when it goes wrong and when it goes right could actually be where the magic kind of happens.
Okay.
So instead, I'm in this awful situation where I'm kind of like an abusive sort of person who just wants to fuck. Who does that help? Well, it helps me in the short term, and it helps this prostitute sort of character in the short term because they get some money. But it doesn't really help the mission, which is what are we doing here? Well, we're doing music. Well, we're doing storytelling. We're trying to do the thing that our grandmothers did to their grandmothers, which is tell stories about morality and about how it worked by singing songs. And if we can't do that, I don't know what to tell you. Like, if we can't do that because somebody's worried that it's not auto-tuned perfectly, or because it's not like flashy guitar enough or something, well, I think they've got the wrong idea about what music's supposed to be.
Okay. All right. You know what? I think we're going to leave it there.
That's a good moment to end on.
Good moment to end on. Yes, thank you for your time, guys.
Barney, thank you very much.